Good evening and welcome to Frankfort High School. Tonight's matchup, it is the Cascade Cadets against the Frankfort Hot Dogs. I'm Harrison Silcox with you on the broadcast this evening as you see the teams warming up on your screen on the field, getting ready for this showdown between the winless Hot Dogs and the 4-0 Cadets. With me on the call tonight is Jim Leisure, who's got plenty of coaching experience behind him as he joins us in the broadcast booth. And he's got plenty of good insights coming up in just a moment here on our pregame show. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Abstract Technology Group, doing IT differently and making it simple. Day and Genda Funeral Home, putting family first. Fiberhawk, fast, affordable Fiberhawk. Healthy Communities of Clinton County, making the healthy choice the easy choice. The Frankfort Eagles Post 976, people helping people. And then also the Willow Creek Barn, providing a picturesque setting for the barn wedding of your dreams. Once again, I'm Harrison Silcox as I welcome you into our pregame show, brought to you by Day and Genda Funeral Home, putting family first. And it's Jim Leisure up with me here from the press box tonight as we get a good look at a team that's got state title aspirations in Cascade as they play Frankfort, who is 0-4 on the year. Jim, first thing that comes to mind when you start preparing for this Friday night's game between these two opponents, what was it?
Well, I mean, on the surface, you look at it and you see 4-0 and 0-4, and you see, well, that's just two teams that are going in different directions, but not necessarily so. I mean, obviously, Coach Connor Simmons has done a really good job. I believe he's in his 6th year at Cascade. As you mentioned, he's got them playing at a state contending level. And then you look on the other side where head coach Justin Kinsey is in his 1st year here at Frankfort, and, it's going to take time. You're going to have to change the culture, the attitude, install your system offensively, defensively, special teams. Rome wasn't built in a day. I did look it up. It took 1,100 years. I don't think Coach Kinsey has 1,100 years, but he's probably got 3 or 4 here to get this thing turned around, and I think that he will.
That is the first look, brought to you by the Willow Creek Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. We'll pivot now over to our players to watch, brought to you by the ISC Sports Network. Local lives here. We'll start with quarterback for the Cadets, Jim, that being Brady Trebley.
Yeah, really good-looking kid, 46 of 65, 703 yards in 4 games, 9 touchdowns against 0 interceptions. As you look at the graphic there, that's the model of efficiency.
And then on the other side of that, it's running back James Lozano. A lot of players get carries in this Frankfort offense, Lozano being one of them. He's been a fairly efficient runner for them so far this season.
Well, that's the thing. You look at the 4.6 average and, yards per game, like you said, 22 does not jump off the screen at you, but they do employ in this wing T system several running backs. They play a lot of kids both ways, and so you're going to get you're going to have to rest him at some point. And, some of that may be Lozano coming off the field to get a breather and just letting the other kids play. But, yeah, very impressive young man, and I'm looking forward to watching both of those guys play.
And our keys to victory tonight, that's where we're going to pivot next, brought to you by Tier 1 Meat Co. Jim, break down keys to victory for our team so far tonight.
Yeah, you see it on the screen there. Protect the football, protect the rock. Basically, you want to end every possession if you can as a coach. You want to end it with some kind of kick. Punting is not a bad idea. I mean, that's sometimes a good thing, but you'd like to end it with a PAT or a field goal attempt. Big plays. There's always, Harrison, about 5 to 6 football plays in every game that really end up being the big page turner. As coaches, you watch film and you go back and you say, wow, if we get off the field here, if we score there, it changes the game. Big plays will be a key. And then swarm the football. Defensively, guys, you got to get 8 of the 11. Somebody's got to play back, I understand. But when the ball is snapped, you need to have 8 hats at the ball, arrive in a bad mood, try to knock it loose. And when you get those types of swarms at the ball, you eliminate big plays. So key 2 kind of feeds into key 3 there.
They all kind of feed into trends on the season. Fantastic job by you on your research. You talk about protecting the rock. Frankfort had a pair of fumbles last week. Turnovers have been an issue for them. What's one way that, in your coaching experience, that you would advise guys to just clean up on that issue?
Well, a couple things is, you get what you tolerate, you get what you emphasize. So in films, you have to be able to show the kids, look, this is where we kill ourselves right here. Okay, and really point it out to them. Then in practice, honestly, your receivers and your running backs need to have a football in their hand at all times. Have coaches come up behind them and try to knock the ball out. If they're just standing there watching, come up behind them and knock the ball out. They got to secure it. Put the point in your hand, put the other point under your arm, and pin it against your ribs. Protect the football. If you're going to run up the middle, wing T teams do a lot. Once you get hit, double cover the football. Don't, and then, of course, throwing it, you got to do what the quarterback does well. If he doesn't have the long arm, don't ask him to throw long. Just have him throw screens and have him throw short stuff, comebacks, hitches, and that kind of stuff, and you can eliminate the INTs.
As the marching band gets ready to walk out onto the field here, we will keep an eye for when the national anthem is coming up. But until the meantime, to fill just a little bit more time, you talked about eliminating big plays there. First thing that comes to mind for me with the Cadets and the big plays, they've had 2 special teams touchdowns and their last 2 games. As far as coverage goes, when you're kicking the ball or you're punting the ball, is it lane discipline? What are some of the best ways to eliminate big plays when it comes to special teams?
Lane discipline can be a lot of it, but as a coach, I always felt like I would take it out of the kids' hands, and I would just not kick to their best player. I'd kick the ball to bounds. I mean, I went to school to do more than just eat my lunch. Just kick away from their good guy.
And you mentioned briefly there, wing T. You referenced it my last question that I asked you. We're going to see a lot of wing T tonight from both of these teams. They like to run the ball a lot. You'll see Cascade throw it a little bit more here and there, but as far as fans who might be a little bit unfamiliar with that offensive style, what can they expect from either side tonight?
You're going to see a lot of power, a lot of misdirection. The wing T, you're generally going to have at least 1 tight end and 1 split end, but maybe 2 tight ends. You'll have a back lined up just outside one of those tight ends. He's the wing. The T is the other 2 backs. One of them lines up generally behind the quarterback, and then the other one, either to the right or to the left. But there's a lot of faking and a lot of handing off, and there's a lot of trapping and double teams on the line of scrimmage. Coaches like to run the wing T when they feel like they don't have those great, big, strong offensive linemen. They can't just zone block everybody. They can't just one-on-one and move people. So wing T entails a lot of double teams and kickouts. So you're going to double team down on, like, say, the defensive tackle, tight end, and right tackle, double team and move him down, pull the left guard to kick out the end of the line, and then try to run in the gap.
And one thing for me, just from a play-by-play guy's perspective, it's hard to keep track of exactly where the ball is going. You talk about misdirection that comes with the wing T. So how important is it to communicate on defense just to keep everybody on the same page?
Well, this is what we did when we played a really good wing T team. We would practice their offensive plays against our defense, and we never had a football. Okay, we would just have the kids just do the fakes, and everybody had an assignment. Your job was to hit the quarterback every time. I don't care if he's got the ball. Okay, and then when a kid missed it in practice, where if a kid did it wrong and he said, well, Coach, I thought he had the ball. What ball? There is no ball. Do your assignment. You have to play assignment defense. Everybody has to do what they're supposed to do. Stop chasing ghosts.
I do want to focus back in on Brady Trebley. You do see it sometimes. It's not the most common thing in the world, but this is a 4-year starter at the quarterback position. How rare is that, and what does it speak to this kid's talent, both as a thrower and a runner?
It speaks to everything. I mean, he had to be a great leader. Imagine being basically a 14 or 15-year-old kid coming into a huddle with guys with facial hair, right? and then you got to go in there and lead that thing. He's done a fantastic job. He does throw a really good ball, and I will tell you, Harrison, whenever we faced a good wing T running team, generally their quarterback wasn't very good, and so we could just kind of get that extra hat in the box defensively. Yep. When you got a kid that can throw it, oh man, it's going to be a long night. It just is. I mean, I could think back to a Mount Vernon team. Doug Peacock was the head coach, and they had a really good passing quarterback. Kid's name was Greg McGuire, and McGuire killed us because we tried to stop the run, which we did, but we couldn't stop Greg McGuire, and McGuire killed us. So when you got a good quarterback like he is, it's going to be a long night for the other team's defensive coordinator.
It's a bit of a cliche, but I feel like that feeds in a little bit to just you take what the defense gives you.
Yep.
And when you have that ability to throw out of that wing T, where a lot of people assume it's going to be so run heavy, you can just put the ball up over everybody's head and find somebody downfield and kind of break things open a little bit.
Yeah, and I will tell you that coaches who coach the wing T, they know it inside and out. They've seen every adjustment. They've seen every defensive front, every blitz, every stunt. And those guys are up in the box. And when they say, hey, the safety's cheating, he's cheating down, then that's when you pop him over the head.
And that will take us to our break. For the national anthem, we've got your officials and starting lineups on the other side of this on the ISC Sports Network.
Healthy Communities of Clinton County is committed to reduce the risk factors contributing to chronic disease, including health disparities by decreasing stigma and encouraging positive changes. HCCC is here for the community with systems of care navigators, insurance assistance, prenatal classes, mental health programs, substance use prevention, and more. To help make the healthy choice the easy choice, contact us at 659-6063 or through our website, healthyclintoncounty.org.
In this town, game day starts long before kickoff. It's the work behind the scenes that makes champions. At Tier 1 Meat Company, we prep with the same focus, discipline, and pride as the hometown heroes we feed. From our block to your block, fuel every victory. Tier 1 Meat Company. Mission, feed the fans. Standard, champion quality. Scan the QR code for a game day upgrade.
Day and Ginda Funeral Home, proudly putting family first, strives to care and honor the families of Clinton and Carroll County in ways that share the loved one's story. In our effort to serve your family at the highest of quality, we have added our own crematories, one for your loved one and another crematory for your furry family members. Contact us for information on how we can serve your family. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first.
At Wampler's Disposal and Recycling, we take pride in offering waste management for commercial and residential clients. As an industry leader, Wampler's Disposal and Recycling brings the most professional and responsive collection service in the business. Since 1948, our family-owned and operated company has provided excellent service at competitive rates. We offer container rentals as well. Our longevity in the industry is a testament to our excellent service. We serve all of Clinton, Tippecanoe, Boone, Howard, and Carroll counties. For all your waste removal needs, call Wampler Services Incorporated today. You can reach us at 765-659-3721. Visit us online at wamplerservicesinc.com.
You're getting a good look there at the Frankfort High School Band doing a fantastic job here on this Friday night. And also kudos to director Jason Hutton. Great performance of the national anthem and great job setting the tone as well for tonight's game between the Frankfort Hot Dogs and the Cascade Cadets. Once again, I'm Harrison Silcox with you up at the broadcast booth tonight. Jim Leisure alongside me. Our officials down on the field tonight. Brought to you by Wampler's Disposal Service and Recycling, where recycling makes sense. We've got Augie Farwig, Brian Owens, Kevin Brown, Nathan Bourdreau, and Todd Collop officiating tonight's game. And a huge thank you to that crew. And a nice reminder, these games don't happen without officials. And we will also pivot over to starting lineups here in just a moment. Starting lineups brought to you by Ardente Dental. Healthy Smiles starts here as we start with the Frankfort Hot Dogs and the offense for them, starting at quarterback. In the last couple of games, it's been Kiefer Dooley. We mentioned that this is not a pass-heavy offense. Kiefer Dooley does have 5 completions on the year, though, on 12 attempts, 34 yards downfield. No interceptions for him either. The two guys who are going to get a decent amount of carries tonight, Francisco Vega and James Lozano. Those are two guys out of the backfield you'll want to keep an eye on. Then you've got Quincy Allen is one of the wide receivers, Xavier Taylor, another one. Darren Barkley, you can expect to see him get some carries. Then also not mentioned in the starting lineup, but Dennis Barkley, a senior, one of the returners from last year's squad, he will come in and get some game action as well. As we'll pivot to our next group of starting lineups here, as that is the Cadets making their way out onto the field. In Cascade 4-0 on the season, ranked 3rd in 3A.
And as you see the Cadets there, Coach Connor Simmons did say they got 3 starters, I think, out. So the starting lineup for Cascade may look a little bit different to you Cadet fans if you see a couple kids whose names are not in the lineup.
Yeah, they're down to a couple safeties. So we'll mention them as the starters are thrown up here. But Lucas Farmer's one of their safeties. JT Rochong, another one of those safeties who's out tonight. Likely going to see Mason Dixon slot into that role as well. And then just a couple other players on the offensive side of the ball. But, Jim, you mentioned at the pregame, you got guys in both these teams that play both ways plenty. And so Farmer and Rochong are two of those guys who play both offense and defense. So the Cadets will be without them tonight, and then this is a look at Frankfort here as they get ready to come out onto the field trying to play the spoiler tonight on their home turf. We talked about this a little bit before the break, Jim, and it got me thinking. You said coaches who run the wing tee know the wing tee inside and out. Do you think that there could be something there that Frankfort could try and, I don't know, I don't want to say necessarily expose, because you look at the Cadets' numbers offensively, and they're fantastic. Right? They back up the 4-0 record and they're ranking in the state. But does it help as far as your preparation goes when you're going against a wing tee style offense? That's something that, in your practices, you're likely going against a lot more. So is that better understanding there, kind of maybe along with the coach, with all 11 players on the field a little bit?
Oh, without question, Harrison. Here's the deal. Wing tee is hard to prepare for. Well, when you run it, again, you know some of those tricks and different counters and plays that people can run. The reason, again, a lot of teams, not a lot, but the teams that do run wing tee is that because other teams in the state don't. Everybody nowadays is shotgun spread, and it's all, 3-by-1s and all that stuff. Well, now you got to line up and play basically smash mouth football. I think it is a huge advantage to be able to see a similar offense because, again, nobody else runs it, so you do, okay, and so you know the ins and outs.
Well, Frankfort's now made their way out onto the field. We'll see who winds up winning the toss and getting the ball first. Walking through some more starters with the Cascade Cadets on offense. Brady Trebley, we've talked about him a couple times. He is the starting quarterback. Toby Savini, where's number 5? Kind of a do-it-all player for this Cadets offense. He's got back-to-back games with a special teams touchdown, a kick return, and a punt return in his last 2 games. Dayton Mink, guy who's also kind of in that running back position, and he can do a whole lot when he gets the ball in his hands. He's got 230 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns to go with that as well. And then Marcus Hobson, he'll go out wide. They'll hand off the ball to him. I mean, it's the versatility that you get in that wing tee where you have so many players that can move in so many different ways. He leads the team in receiving yards with over 275 on the season. He's got 6 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. And then really the one question mark that you could say the Cadets maybe had coming into this season, but it hasn't really played too much of an impact when you look at their margin of victory, is their offensive line. 4 new starters on this offensive line. Brody Duncan, 63, the right guard, is the only returning starter on the offensive line this year. 6'2", 200 pounds. At left tackle, they got Dylan Setti, Jr., 5'10", 245. Gunnar White, and there on that left interior, Eric Appleby as the center, and then Wyatt Minardo out as the right tackle. And then over on the defensive side of things for the Hot Dogs, typically out of a 4-3 formation, they've got 4 down linemen, 2 defensive ends, your tackles on the inside, and then a pair of outside linebackers or the middle linebacker. Dennis Barkley, typically the starter in there at middle linebacker. James Lozana, we talked about him as a running back. The 5'9" junior, 215 pounds. He also gets plenty of reps as outside linebacker as well. And then you've got 2 safeties and cornerbacks that is rounding out the secondary for the Hot Dogs. And then what Cascade brings to the table defensively a little bit differently. They've got 2 defensive ends and then a nose guard in the middle. It's 3 guys up in the line of scrimmage. They've got 4 linebackers, 2 on the outside, 2 on the inside. I mentioned Toby Savini, kind of a do-it-all player. He gets plenty of touches on offense. He also runs inside linebacker on defense. 25 total tackles on the season. He's got 3 sacks on the year. TJ Turner, the outside linebacker, one to watch out for, leads the team in both tackles for loss and sacks on the season. He's tackled guys 11 times behind the line of scrimmage to go with 4 sacks. He's also got an interception that he returned for a touchdown. And it's going to be Frankfort ball to start as the Hot Dogs will get a first look at this Cascade defense. And that is Brogan Trump kicking the ball away. And Barkley will let it hop one time before he picks it up. And quickly swarmed just to be on the 15-yard line. So not ideal field position for the Hot Dogs here as they open things up, Jim.
Yeah, again, Trump has not, I think he's had 1 touchback on the year, so basically neither team has a great kicker in that at the high school level when the ball goes in the end zone, it's dead. You cannot return it on a kickoff. So don't expect some returns tonight. That one did land, I guess, about the 10, and he played it well. You know, we always tell kids, play the big hop. Come up and get the big hop. Don't let it hop again, because if it hops again, you may never see it. Just didn't work for him.
The randomness of the shape of the football, and when it bounces on the ground, you get the crowd collectively holding their breath at times. As it's a run play to start, go figure, but it doesn't go for many yards as we get our first offensive snap of the game. And it didn't go very far for James Lozano as he was swarmed in the backfield. So second at about 12 coming up now for Frankfort.
You saw in the tackle there, 75, Jacob Healy. Healy is in the ball game for 53. Bentley McClellan, who is injured, but he's playing nose there. You see the big fella, 75, and he just ran it down from behind. Really nice job. He's a big kid too.
The good size up front typically plays a nice advantage when it comes to winning leverage at the line of scrimmage, as it's another carry. It's Barkley who falls forward and picks up a couple. The third and long in the way next. Yeah,
you saw in the replay there a fumbled snap. Again, not off to a good start. Here you are behind the sticks, 3rd and 11. You're kind of in a passing situation here, but you don't pass the ball particularly well. So look for a counter. Look for something where they start to the right, bring it back to the left. But you got to sustain these blocks, and I know easier said than done. This Cascade defensive front is massive.
It is Barkley getting reps at quarterback on this drive. Do you want to mention he and Dooley have taken their turns throughout games this season, getting snaps under center, and it is a 4th down, and the punting unit coming out of the field for Frankfort.
Yeah, so Frankfort has not punted the ball particularly well. Generally, it is Darren Barkley, and he averages about 20 yards a kick, and it looks like he's the setback. Back to receive, I think, for Cascade is 5, Savini.
That is Savini. Does have a punt return for a touchdown on the year. This one's just going to bounce out of the far side of the field, and then Barkley touches it. And whistle blows the play dead, in good field position now to start out for Cascade.
And not a bad punt either. At least you got it out from the shadows of your goal line. And, again, you notice the directional kick there. They wanted no part of Savini. So that ball was either going to go out of bounds or it was going to be touched by the kicking team, and it was eventually touched. So we'll see what the Cadets can do.
So that was Jackson Roby who actually touched that ball before it went out of play. And now here's our first look at the other wing T style offense as Trebley will drop back to pass in the first play of the game. Deep downfield, it's caught and a touchdown. Right off the bat, the Cadets find Savini on a deep ball, and he's got his 4th touchdown on the season.
Well, and again, you see the catch there. Nice job of going up and getting it. And, again, great play action on first down. Most teams don't expect a pass on first down, especially from run-heavy teams. So really good call by Coach Simmons. And just beat the safety. Safety was cheating. I had my eyes on him, and he had his eyes in the backfield, and on the fake, he came forward. Bad idea.
It's exactly what we talked about in the pregame a little bit as Trump lines up for the PAT here, Jim. It's just, you said it's a real pain running against a wing T offense with a quarterback who can air it out along with establishing the run game, and we saw that play out perfectly in Cascade's favor in the opening play. PAT is good. Make it 7-zip. As Trebley's got 1 snap in at quarterback and already a passing touchdown. As we had to break, 7-0 Cascade leads over Frankfort. Broadcast tonight brought to you by the Frankfort Eagles. Post 976, serving our community since 1905 with over 900 members locally. The Frankfort Eagles offers something for everyone. For more information on who they are and what they do, please visit FOE.com or stop by 408 North Main Street in Frankfort. And it is Cascade kicking off after the Trevini score. Barkley picks it up off the first hop once again. Will try to run up toward the near side of the field. This time has some room and gets across the 20-yard line, close to the 25. Once again, I'm Harrison Silcox with you on the broadcast this evening. Jim, as we get another look at the kickoff, that's about as good of a start as you possibly could have had if you're Cascade.
Yeah, I made one guy miss there, and actually a couple really good blocks there. Again, you got to remember, they don't all have to be pancake blocks, especially on special teams. A lot of times it's really just a moving pick. If it was basketball, they'd call it a foul. But in football, just cover the guy, get your hands on him and push him. You don't have to worry about necessarily knocking him down. Just occupy him long enough to get the back through.
So second drive for the Hot Dogs. They were behind the sticks immediately the last time out on the field. Barkley gets the snap out of the shotgun and is immediately met by a few tacklers up near the line of scrimmage. Ball popped out toward the end of the play, but Barkley was ruled down. It was Healy who was in there once again, Jim, big number 75 for Cascade.
Yeah, again, he's really doing a nice job, and I got to believe that Coach Simmons is excited to see that. When you lose the big fella 53 there, Bentley McClellan, the senior 6'4", 280, you got to go with a backup kid, and you do, and he's showing himself quite well. So right now, that defensive line there, though, but Appleby and Duncan and Healy are really playing well.
Healy, a junior, 6 feet tall, 250, as it's another carry, and running right into that wall that is the Cascade defensive line. No gain on the play once more. Third and behind the sticks by a yard for the Hot Dogs.
Well, and again, you notice the last two snaps, Harrison, the folks at home as well, they were in a shotgun formation, and you can run shotgun, you can run wing tee out of shotgun. There's all kinds of variations. We'll see whether they stay in that or they get back up under center. Looks like they're going to stay in the shotgun formation.
Still out of that shotgun, a whole bunch of bodies in the backfield, and just going to be a direct carry by Vega. Tried to move up along the right side and picked up maybe just a little bit there, but not a whole lot of daylight being given up by this Cascade defensive front as it's another fourth down, second punt of the night on the way for Frankfort with 8 minutes left in the opening quarter.
Well, a little bit of a unique call there. You had two running backs in the back to the right of the quarterback, and then you run left with no lead blockers, and no surprise, he kind of had nowhere to go. He's either got to wait on those blockers to cross his face, or you need to run that the other way.
So Savini back to return once again. He's also joined by Mason Dixon, who's in front of him. Savini's going to let this one roll back and then try and pick it up. We'll see if he can do something with it. Up the far sideline, a room to run for Savini. Can he put on the Jets? No, he gets tripped up just outside of that 30-yard line in hot dog territory. So once again, some very ideal field position for Cascade. You're seeing the value of special teams there on that play.
Well, and you're also seeing, too, you always hear about how the sideline is the 12th defender. That time the Hot Dogs were able to corral him over on that sideline. There was just basically a log jam of humanity over there. He had nowhere to go, and then they were able to pin him.
So from the 32 is where the Cadets begin this drive. Little pistol formation action here as Trebley will hand it off. And that is Dayton Mink on his first carry of the night. About a 50% touchdown rate so far for the Cadets. They scored a touchdown on their opening play. That was just their second snap of offense. 7:15 left to go in the opening quarter. Trebley under center this time around. And he'll toss it out to Hobson on the near side as blockers upfield. Hobson cuts back, lunges forward, and gets into the end zone for the second Cadet score of the night. It is Marcus Hobson with his 5th career rushing touchdown.
Well, you'll see 67 there. Really nice job for the big offensive lineman, Wyatt Minardo, hustling downfield. And, again, got up one of those get-in-the-way blocks. He didn't really block anybody, but he just forced them to change direction and go around him. And then prior to that, 63 Brody Duncan had a fantastic block. He was supposed to kick out the defensive end, but the defensive end crashed, so he logged him. Really good job of recognizing things on the run.
Another extra point from Trump. That is through the uprights, and it is good. And it is a 14-0 lead for Cascade. They've run 3 plays of offense. They've scored 2 touchdowns, and it is the Cadets who are well in control in the early going. While we have a break in the action, we'd like to remind you our broadcast tonight brought to you by Day and Genda Funeral Home. Tonight's game is Brought to you by Day and Genda Funeral Home, with locations in Frankfort, Flora, Mulberry, and Rossville. The compassionate and experienced staff at Day and Genda Funeral Home are dedicated to providing a loving and genuine environment for you to honor your loved one. For more information on our services and community involvement, please visit dayandgenda.com. It's Day and Genda Funeral Homes, where we put family first. Then also Healthy Communities of Clinton County Coalition. They understand the important role healthcare coverage plays for athletes and their families. We partner with CKF to provide free expert assistance to enroll, use, and maintain affordable coverage. Our certified navigators are available to set for uninsured Hoosiers as a trusted teammate. Call 1-888-975-4CKF and tell us the county where you live or work. Third kickoff of the night coming from the Cadets. Hot Dogs had the opening kickoff return as this one bounces off the face mask of Barkley. He can't track it, and fortunate for him, it bounces out of play. Or pardon me, I believe that was Quincy Allen out there on the far side of the field, and a fortunate break there for Allen, Jim.
Yeah, you can't say he lost it in the sun as the gloam is starting to appear. The lights are actually on. One of the things I've noticed about the hot dog kickoff return team is the front line guys, they're only retreating about a yard or two and then trying to block. You can't block that long. I mean, you just can't. You've got to retreat. They've got to sprint back 15 yards, then try to block. Because when you're blocking for 4.5 seconds, honestly, you don't belong in this league. You belong in the NFL if you can block that long. So you got to be a little more strategic there.
Dooley in at quarterback this time. Lozano getting the carry, and he'll carry a couple defenders with him. Eventually finishing on the tackle was Toby Savini. But that's the most productive play we've seen for the Hot Dogs so far tonight. Picked up about half of what he needed to get to the first down marker. Ball's at the 25. Nice carry by Lozano, our player featured in the pregame.
And nice job up front, too. I mean, keep playing, fellas. I understand the score and I understand the situation. But every single play is a play to get better or get worse. And that time the Hot Dogs got better.
There's always moments you can take advantage of when you're out on the field to try and improve. As Lozano gets another carry, puts the shoulder pads down, this time only forward about a yard, as Jacob Healy is giving Dominic Hoskins, the center for the Hot Dogs, all sorts of trouble. They're 75, not your typical starter on this team, but he's in there because of injuries, doing a good job at the early going.
He really is, and again, that gives Coach Simmons and his staff some options. That time 67. Wyatt Minardo from his defensive end position closed hard, and that's what you want. You coach those guys. If the guy above or over you offensively, if he goes in toward the football, don't go upfield. Crash flat, meet the back at the hole, and he did.
Vega this time, the running back, as Dooley will drop back and throw it as he tried to get it outside and in the direction of his receiver, Jaden Davis, but it falls incomplete. And that is fourth down on the way for the Hot Dogs punt unit back out there once again for the third time tonight. Every time that the Cadets have had the ball, Jim, it's been in a Hot Dog territory. They set up every single drive on the right side of their 50-yard line. We'll see if Barkley can try and flip the field just a little bit here on his third punt attempt.
The last one was almost blocked.
This one high in the air. It'll bounce and go well past the 35, down toward the 30. Savini's going to get there, try to shed a few tacklers, but the Hot Dogs all over him, and the play is finished well by the special teams unit, courtesy of Logan Barker, who gets in there late to help finish the tackle.
Well, 8 blue shirts at the football. That's the swarming part. We talked about it as one of the keys. Of course, that was a special teams play, but I really liked the hustle there by Quincy Allen, the 5'10 junior, who just hustled down there, and he's the one that kind of corralled him and held him up and waited on the cavalry to show up, and a really nice job. And we'll see whether or not, again, you just had an offensive possession where you at least had some positive plays. Now you've had a good special teams play. Let's see if the defense can step up.
From the 31 in their own territory, the Cadets will set up shop. Handoff going up the gut this time around. A solid carry from Mink, who's got daylight, and he's got room to run if he can hang on. But no, he's brought down at the end of the play. Quincy Allen stopping the touchdown from just inside the 10-yard line. But Dayton Mink with a carry through traffic and all of a sudden finding a whole bunch of green grass.
Very quickly to the line here.
First and goal. Mink, can he finish off the drive? He started it at the goal line, down at the 1.
Cascade is, you don't see a lot of hurry-up wing T, but they're certainly running it.
Like to move the ball and move it quickly. Mink, 1, 2, 3, touchdown. 3 plays, 3 carries for Mink, and a score as well. That's the 3rd touchdown of the night as the Cadets continue to put up points.
Well, that was just an ISO, basically old-fashioned ISO. Quarterback reverses out, hands the ball to the fullback there, and then you either lead the halfback or you can pull a left guard around and lead him up on the linebacker. But gosh, again, they move so fast, it's hard for the defense to catch their breath.
You see the speed that head coach Connor Simmons has at his disposal, as another extra point is good to make it 21-0. And as we have a break in the action, we'd like to remind you about the Willow Creek Barn. Attention all engaged couples, discover why the Willow Creek Barn has been voted the Knott's Best of Weddings for 4 years in a row. Nestled just outside Frankfort, Indiana, our venue offers stunning indoor and outdoor ceremony options with breathtaking photo opportunities. We provide the perfect backdrop for your dream barn wedding. To start planning your unforgettable day, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com. Jim, best possible scenario to start the game for the Cadets so far tonight. The ratio of plays run to touchdowns scored, when you think about keeping bodies fresh, keeping guys healthy for a long season ahead, if this keeps up, you'd imagine Connor Simmons is going to be overjoyed with how tonight will go.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is eventually you'll be able to put some kids in the ball game, some freshmen, some sophomores, and get them on film. I mean, because, there are kids who pass the uniform test. They look like a football player, but they don't ever block anybody, and they don't ever tackle anybody. And then there's other kids that are pretty quiet. They don't look like football players, but they maul people. So get them on film and see who can play and who can't. The ball falls off the tee here. But now the folks at home here, as you look at the screen there, watch the 5 guys in the blue shirts up here. They're at the 46-yard line, which is where I would have them. Okay, that line to gain there is a 50 or the free kick line. But they got to retreat back to about the 30-yard line. Let's see where they go.
This kick is booted away, and it's bobbled once again. Allen able to keep hold of it, and oh my goodness, look at this. He's got a kicker to beat on the far sideline. Allen into Cadet territory and is fired up along with his teammates on the sideline. You talk about making something out of nothing, nearly a disastrous play on a bobbled kick return, and Allen just finds some daylight and crosses the 50-yard line.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've always talked about is and I've coached kickoff return for years, when the ball's on the ground like that, when it's bobbled, it takes everybody out of their lanes. It screws up the timing of things. It really does. And if you're fortunate enough to pick it up, and he was, you can make some hay, and he did.
So here's Dooley under center. Best field position of the night so far for the Hot Dogs. 4.5 left to go in the first quarter. Bobbled snap, and just like that, it's covered up, and Cadets get the ball. Jacob Healy jumping right on top of it. We've been talking about him all night. He saw that ball on the turf, and he got there as well. Another Cadet in on the play, and that is one way to respond after giving up a big play on special teams. It looked like it might have been Braxton Lewis, Jim, who was also in there on that fumble recovery.
Yeah, and again, how about the big play by Jacob Healy again? Can't say enough. He is not listed as he was a backup, but it's not listed as one of the leading tacklers. But he's certainly leading this defense tonight.
Here's Trebley back under center. Dayton Mink behind him. Trebley this time on the play action, looks downfield, and that is incomplete. Barkley was in there on coverage, as Royce Bright, the 6'3" tight end, was right at the first down marker. But good hands from Barkley getting in there. That's a pass deflection on the stat sheet.
Yeah, and if he doesn't deflect it, it's probably going to go. There was a safety coming over the top that I saw, but I don't know whether he'd have got there to make the tackle or not. So don't be afraid to leave your feet. Knock it down.
2nd and 10 from their own 40. Worst play of the night so far for the Cadets was the incompletion. As this is a handoff that goes to Savini at the outside. Can he break it loose? He gets just shy of that first down marker. Official's going to put him about 1.5 yards short.
Again, you had 3 white shirts, though, leading the way. They were 5-10 yards in front of the ball carrier just looking for somebody to block. 63 Brody Duncan was one of them.
And Savini goes in motion, similar play style as he breaks this one out across the 40, close to the 35. As this Cadets team moves fast when they get the ball, Jim.
Yep, Duncan again leading the block. Again, I like the kid. He's a senior, and he's one of those guys that later in the season you may want to line him up at fullback and try to get him in the end zone because, you want to reward that hustle. And you also want to show the other kids on the team, look, play like this guy. You should never change speeds on a football field. If you're changing speeds, speeding up, then you were wrong. You were jogging to begin with.
And this time it's play action as Trebley looks downfield, has a man caught across the first down marker. So another positive play from the Cadets as Braxton Lewis got open for a reception. Sticks move once again, 1st and 10 coming up.
Well, and that time again, the hot dog defense decided to play a little bit deeper, did not bite on the ball fake, but they ran clearing routes, the receivers, and then that left the underneath route open. So it looks like we're going to go to a little bit more of a wide open 3-by-1 set here. Coach Simmons is going to work on his offense.
Cooper Levens, one of the wide receivers out there, not a typical starter, but because of some injuries that we've talked about so far tonight for the Cadets, he's getting some reps. Talk about a potential for a good opportunity to get some film. You mentioned earlier this drive is it's going to go to Levens out of the far side of the field on a screen pass. He has a block and stretches across the first down marker. He's right there. We'll see if the officials give it to him. They will.
Well, just, the old spot screen, and you get 2 really good blockers out there. That's the key right there. That play, a lot of teams try to run it, but then the 2 guys out there don't block nobody, and you lose yardage. If you want to run the spot, run it, but you got to block.
Darren Barkley in on that tackle for the Hot Dogs as Trebley will look to pass again. It's been a pass-heavy drive. Here's Levens, back corner, hit his hands and down on the turf. Or the grass, rather. So an incomplete pass, second incompletion on the drive.
Did a really good job of looking off the safety, looked all the way to the right, and then finally came back left. Really good coverage out there by number 13, Quincy Allen, who basically he's going both ways, and he waved to the coach, said, look, I need a breather, and I like that.
Here's a pitch that goes out wide to Turner, stumbles and gets just inside the 10.
Now, I know a couple years ago, Anthony Richardson took a lot of grief for pulling himself out of the game, but Anthony Richardson gets paid a lot of money, and he doesn't have to play both ways. When you're exhausted, we have a player down here. We'll try to get you a number here in a second, but looks like 21. But when you're exhausted on the football field, you're really not doing me any good, and you need to come off, and let's get a fresh kid out there.
That's Dennis Barkley, who's down, by the way, a little bit shaken up. He plays both ways.
Yeah.
It's a very common thing in high school, but he is a middle linebacker for this Frankfort defense. Also gets reps in at quarterbacks. It looks like they're working on that left ankle of his, so we hope he's okay. But Quincy Allen, you talk about him being tired. He's got every justification to be tired.
Yeah.
He had, if you remember, on the last Cadets drive on offense, he had a touchdown-saving tackle on a massive Dayton Mink run that was broken up through the interior. And then he fumbles the kick return, picks up the ball, takes it all the way down inside the 40-yard line in Cadets territory. Then the very next play, the snap is fumbled. Cadets get it. Quincy Allen, you got to go back out there and get some more defensive reps. So you see him in coverage.
Yes.
Help stop a touchdown pass. He had a tackle earlier this drive. I think I'm exhausted just explaining what he's done in the last 2 drives of this game.
And folks, again, do not think negatively of him in that situation. We used to tell our kids, look, if you take yourself out, then you can just put yourself back in. You don't have to come to me. If you're man enough to say, Coach, I am not doing you any good, I am exhausted, then get off, and I'll get perhaps a lesser talented kid, but a kid who's fresh and can give me full speed and total effort. 2 or 3 plays, you're ready, son. Go back. You don't even talk to me.
Yeah,
get back out there.
Hop over to the sideline, get a breather, and get the legs warmed up for some more reps out there as Trebley will roll out. He's got a receiver on the near side. That's Turner. Trying to shed a few tacklers and carry some with him into the end zone. Did he cross the goal line down right at the 1, says the official, is T.J. Turner.
Getting a little flood route here. Just send the receivers into the end zone and send it back out of the backfield and see if you can catch him in the flat, and they did.
Trebley goes back under center. Mink, the running back. He'll get the carry up the right side and in for another score. That's 4 touchdowns here in this opening quarter. Mink's got 2 rushing touchdowns on the night. He's got 6 on the season now.
Well, and this is, the first touchdown was a play-action pass. The second one was a buck sweep. The third one was an ISO, and now a dive. So Coach Simmons is really, using all of his plays. Now, and here's another thing too, Harrison. Put these plays on tape because the teams that you're going to play in the next 2 weeks are going to get this tape. So you want to say, look, you got to defend all this. I'm not just going to show you one or two plays. I'm going to show you all of them, and then you spend all week trying to defend them.
It's part of the chess match that all these coaches try to play against one another. And, Jim, you got plenty of high school coaching experience here in the state of Indiana to know what that chess match is like.
Absolutely. We used to talk about how if you could run one trick play, whether it's a fake punt, onside kick, reverse, double pass, one every 3 weeks, then it stays on tape for the next 2 weeks, and that's enough to keep them honest, okay? Just keep running a play about every 3 weeks, and eventually you'll have, enough of them on tape where people will go, oh, my gosh, these guys will do anything. I mean, they'll fake punt, they'll fake field goal. And you know what, here's the deal. As a football coach, you never, ever feel like you have enough time to prepare for all of it. You just don't. You go into game and you're thinking, man, I hope they don't line up in that one formation because we didn't really practice much against it. I'm not sure we can defend it well. I hope they don't throw a specific pass because, we used to joke and say the superintendent's kid. We got the superintendent's kid on the backside corner, and we hope they don't find him. So there's always something that you are afraid that they may do. Now, they're going to bring it over here to the hash. They do have 4 to one side, 4 to the short side, 6 to the wide. I would be stunned if they onside kick here, but this is a good onside kick formation for a kicking team.
Well, Trump is on kicking duties, puts his leg well into this one as it's out to the near side and bounces into the end zone for a touchback. So Maddox Thomas with the smart play there didn't quite get his hands on it and just let that one, hopefully for his sake, roll in at the back of the end zone. And so a touchback is what it is. Hot Dogs will get the ball. Jim, I got to be honest, the way you described the life of a coach there is I don't think I would enjoy that. I think I'd be stressed and scared all the time that somebody's going to run the one play that I didn't prepare against as a team.
It was for 26 years, Harrison, it was the most fun I ever had. And then all of a sudden it was like Forrest Gump. If you saw Gump when he was running in the desert, and he'd been running a long time, he had long hair and the raggedy clothes, and then he just stopped running. And he said, I think I'm done running now. That's what I did, football coach. I had 26 years, and then all of a sudden I didn't want to do it anymore.
There you go. Happens to everyone at some point in their lives, I imagine, as we get a whistle that stops play. It's a timeout called by the Hot Dogs. Down 28-0. And, when you're a team like Frankfort, you look at their records the past few years, and they are what they are. They've got a first-year head coach in Justin Kinsey. As a first-year head coach, where you're trying to build something in a program that has struggled a few years, you're 0-4 in this season, you've scored one touchdown. What is the message to your players in times like these? Because these guys are competitors. Mm-hmm. They want to be playing in games and playing in competitive games, and they want to be winning, but sometimes you run into the Cascades of the world. So what's your message like, do you think, if you're Kinsey and you're in these huddles, you're in these kids' ears, to try and keep things maybe positive and focus on that improvement you want to see gradually over the years?
Two things come quickly to mind. Number one, you got to be a little bit of a salesman. You got to really focus on the plays and the things that we do well and keep showing them those films. Keep showing them those plays. Guys, this is what we're capable of. The other thing is tell them, hey, guys, there's kids in this building that need to be playing football. You got friends, as the toss comes left, you've got friends that should be playing football. Get them out. That
is Davis, who gets twisted down to the ground on the carry. Nice pickup of a couple yards as they broke that play out to the outside.
A kid, a particular athlete may not play because he's not going to play for the coach. He barely knows the man probably, right? But if he's your best friend, and you hear that a lot, people say, well, I only played football because all my friends did. Okay, well, guys, let's go out and recruit the hallways here. There's people in that building that should be playing, and you know who they are. So recruit them.
This is Dooley in at quarterback. Vega is motioned in behind him with two receivers out to the far side of the field. Vega gets the carry. That is Healy bodying him up in the backfield for the tackle for loss. 3rd and 10 back on the way. When you're not picking up yards, we've got a player slow to get up here. I believe that is Vega for the Hot Dogs. It is tough when you run this style of offense and you constantly find yourself in 3rd and longs.
Yeah, and again, what you're going to have to do here is you're going to have to get the center some help. Clearly the center cannot handle Healy. So they're going to have to double team either with the right guard. And, when I was at Chittard, we did some triple teaming where we would step both guards in and then push the center forward, and then one of the guards would break off. But, you're going to have to control the nose man. Otherwise, you're not going to, you're going to start every possession here, like this one, 3rd and 10.
I think Healy, too, as we've got a break in the action, that's Francisco Vega, who's down. We hope the best for him, the sophomore, 5'11". Got good size for a football player, young as well, getting some valuable varsity snaps this season. But to talk about the cadets for a little bit, we've been talking a lot of the night about Jacob Healy and the impact that he's had, and he's not listed as a starter on this team. He's getting these snaps tonight in large part because of injury, and that's not a disrespect to the kid, but I think it's probably more respect to the depth that the cadets have on this roster.
It's both those things, and again, like I said earlier, don't ever, I can remember there were times that I had kids that I was like, I just don't know that he's a varsity football player. I mean, he's a nice kid, blah, blah. But then you'd put him in the game, and all he would do was maul people, all right? And then, I remember one time in film at Chittard where I had a kid, and, I was watching him on film, and I put him in for a couple plays, and he just killed the guy across from him 2 or 3 times, and then I took him out. And I told him in film, I said, you probably think I'm the biggest dummy in America, right? And he goes, no, Coach. And I said, because, you played 4 plays, you graded out at an A+, and I took you out because I must be stupid. All right? Now, I found a place for that kid to play.
Yeah.
All right? He couldn't. Now, when the starter comes back, and again, the starter, normal, Bentley McClellan, the senior, McClellan's probably going back in the nose, or maybe not. Maybe you say, okay, well, if we've got Healy there at nose, can we play McClellan at end? Okay, I mean, you found a varsity football player out of that young man. It looks like Vega is up and hopefully going to be able to walk off on his own power. But, yeah, you find football players every now and then. And looks like, again, the way he's walking, I'm going to say he's probably okay. Probably in a little bit of pain, but sometimes it's like stubbing your toe. You just got to walk it off. But, yeah, as the clock's going to wind down at the end of the first quarter. But I guarantee you they're going to find a place for Jacob Healy to play, whether it's defensive end, nose man. I mean, they may put him at punt return. I don't know, but he's going to play some more varsity football.
Well, the way he's playing tonight, he's begging for some more playing time as we head to our end of quarter first break. 28-0, Cascade on top of Frankfort.
Running a small business. Your hands are full. We can help. FiberHawk partners with local companies by providing business-class internet, phone, TV, and customized bundles to meet your needs. Our fiber-powered system delivers reliable speed with enhanced security. Running a business is tough. Contact FiberHawk today and let our expert team give you a hand.
Frankfort Eagles 976 has bingo every Wednesday night. Early birds beginning at 6 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 7 p.m. Packets are $25 and includes every game you need to play. They also have Saturday Bingo the first Saturday of every month, with early birds starting at 4 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 5 p.m. Big game payouts each game with 3 to 4 chances to win different jackpot games each day. Great for individuals or groups because everyone enjoys winning lots of money. You must be 18 years or older to play.
It's about ready for the start of the first quarter. Broadcast tonight brought to you by Tier 1 Meat Co. We take pride in delivering locally sourced premium beef and pork, the kind of meat that honors the land, respects the craft, and fuels families with real flavor. As Barkley's going to try to find some space here and is shut down and eventually brought down. But to talk more about Tier 1 Meat Co., from custom processing to mission-ready catering, we bring the firepower to elevate every meal and every moment. Founded by veterans, every cut is elite and every customer is family. Step into Tier 1 at 128 West Catherine Street in Flora or visit us online at tier1meatco.com. So punting unit comes out. Barkley got the carry on the last play. 4th and long, though, coming up. And Barkley's punting duties will be called on again with Savini back to potentially return. This one, though, barely gets past the 30, doesn't take a friendly hop, and goes out of play. So some more very friendly field position coming up for the Cadets.
Well, he's doing what we call a one-step punt, and I coached punters for years, and there were times when you said, look, these guys, they'll come get it. They'll come get it. So you don't get 3 steps. Step and kick, and unfortunately that time he kind of came off the side of his foot. One more thing, too, about you were talking about how to be positive when things aren't going well. That last football play, number 4, Jaden Davis, had a fantastic block. But really, not many other guys did. But you can show them that and say, and we had an offensive coordinator years ago, Jeremy Large at New Pal, who used to write he'd come in on the meetings and he'd write 7 out of 11. He'd say, that's how many guys we got blocking on every play, 7. We need 11.
Little misdirection here, a pitch, and then a handoff up to Hobson, and he'll take it the rest of the way for another score. That's a second rushing touchdown on the night for Hobson. And some more efficiency from the touchdown to snap count ratio for this Cascade offense as the number 3 team in 3A surpasses 30 points on the night, 1 PAT away from 35.
And you saw on the replay all the white shirts leading him into the end zone now. So now like 5th different scoring play. That was a little counter, a little inside reverse. And Coach Simmons, again, he's not really thinking at this point so much about this week. He's thinking about weeks down the road.
Trump's PAT is on the way, and it is good. He's only missed 2 on the season. He has been perfect so far tonight, 35-0. 11:06 left to play here in the second quarter. We thank you for those of us joining us on the stream tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. I've got Jim Leisure up here with me in the press box as we are getting a very good look as to why Cascade won 10 games last season, why they're ranked 3rd in 3A in the AP poll, and why this team thinks they could win their first sectional title since 1992.
Yeah, and again, just total domination for you folks at home who are aware of the mercy rule. And it's a national Federation of High School rule. It's not just Indiana, but it's 35 points, but it does not kick in until the second half. So this will continue to be a normal operating clock. And you know, that's not to say that the Hot Dogs can't score a touchdown here and get it back to 28. But if it stays at 35, it'll be a running clock.
Kind of an awkward kick. Lozano's just going to have to fall on top of it. He had a teammate touch the ball. And then you see the good teamwork on making sure that thing doesn't go to the other team's hands. But that is where the Hot Dogs will get started with this drive on offense, still looking for their first down on the evening. From the 29-yard line in their own territory here in the second quarter, trailing 35-0. As Vega is out to the game.
Yeah, I saw his dad, Frank Vega, and for you folks who familiar, a great football player at Carroll of Flora years ago, took him to a state championship. His dad's one of the coaches, and I just saw him walking off with his helmet and shoulder pads, and I saw Francisco on the golf cart. So just like a lot of my predictions, I said I thought he might come back, but obviously he ain't coming back tonight.
So, yeah, Vega done for the night. And you will learn with Jim on the call, as good of a color commentator as he is, he's also a fantastic Indiana high school football historian. As I'm learning, you'll see a name and you'll, find 5 or 6 other people connected to that name who have done something in Indiana high school football all the way back to its origins.
Yeah, you really can. It's kind of like that, that 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
You can see a guy and say, you know what, he coached with Dick Delahan at Ben Davis, and then he also coached with so-and-so at Warren Central, and you could just, the tree it just keeps growing and growing, and guys like Chris Giesman at Penn, Dick Delahan at Ben Davis, Chuck Stevens at Franklin Central, Bruce Cyphers at Roncalli. Those guys have so many assistant coaches out, and about across the state of Indiana that it just keeps growing.
This is Dooley back out on the field on the 1st and 10. High snap, but he handles it well as he drops back to pass, going deep downfield on what was nearly an awesome reception by Jaden Davis. He's got 2 receptions on the season. That's the second time Davis has been targeted tonight, though he has yet to come down with a reception. Well,
nice little wheel route there where we used to call that a chair, where you break to the outside, and when you get the defender to come up, you just turn up and go, and he's open. One of the things I did like defensively is immediately T.J. Turner Jr. for Cascade went back to the safety and talked about the coverage and said, hey, we blew that. Okay, either I did something I wasn't supposed to do, or you did something you weren't supposed to do. But that's good senior leadership. Fix it.
It's another pass attempt that goes incomplete, as Dooley still just has 5 completions on the season, and we've got a false start this time around. So back up the Hot Dogs just a little bit. 2nd and 5 yards longer coming up.
Yeah, one of the guys on the left side of the offensive line just kind of twitched back just a little bit before the snap, and that's another thing too. that as a coach, when you're not good, you got to talk about penalties. And you got to say, guys, look at all the times we shoot ourselves in the foot here. I mean, there's a reason why some teams win, and there's reasons why other teams lose. And the teams that lose turn the football over, get penalties. Don't got 11 guys playing hard.
Danny Jaycox in the game, by the way. Mentioned Vega's out, so you'll see 45 in blue getting some reps as Dooley is pressured. Hit as he throws it away. And more fantastic work from the Cadets defensively as Braxton Lewis, an inside linebacker, getting into the backfield and hurrying Dooley into another incompletion.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, again, I understand you're down 35-0. You figure like, hey, we got to throw the football. But in my opinion, when you're Coach Kinsey and in the spot he's in, no, you don't. Just work on your stuff. Continue to try to work on running the ball. Shorten the game. When you throw incompletions, you lengthen the game, and you give Cascade more time to put points on the board. I know it's 3rd and 15, and I know we're getting mauled, but run our plays, man.
Dooley under center, pitches this one out to Barkley. Nowhere to run. Met hard in the backfield as Dominic Appleby got back there. The 6'1" senior coming off the edge as you get a look back at the play. And that is how we get the 4th down for the Hot Dogs, who will punt again.
And I'll just add to that, run plays where guys are coming downhill. So really, hopefully you'll get at least to the line of scrimmage, if not going forward. When you turn and pitch it 6 yards deep, he's got to gain 6 yards just to get no gain. So don't run those long plays.
Barkley with a 1-step and kick. This one goes to the near side once again, bounces out of play right around the 40-yard line. Officials will spot it at the 41. And Cascade once again getting the ball to start on their drive in Hot Dog territory. Already up 35-0 with 10:13 left to play here in the second quarter. As this offense has just been an efficient machine here in this half.
Well, Connor Simmons is a young man who played high school ball at New Palestine. He was a quarterback for Coach Kyle Ralph. Might have been, and if you know anything about Indiana high school football, you know that New Palestine is an absolute powerhouse, and Kyle Ralph is the quickest man to 100 wins in the state. He played quarterback and then played a little bit at UND. I don't know exactly how much he played, but Connor is a great offensive mind. I'm not surprised that they're good offensively.
So here's the handoff. It goes out to Savini. Sheds a tackler working up the near side. He's got a blocker with him, and he'll carry it into the end zone. Another one-play score drive. That's 2 drives in a row. The Cadets have done that. 1 snap, get the job done. Hey, offense, good job. Go catch your breath. It's 41-0 now. 10:03 left to play in the second.
Another gold star for his helmet. I don't know if they give helmet awards or not, but 63 Brody Duncan. Just look at him down there. What is he, 25 yards downfield? And you know what? That's why you win, because you got guys like that giving 100% total effort. We talked a second ago. You should never change speeds. If you're getting faster on a football field, it's because you were jogging earlier. Play hard. The average football play lasts 6 seconds. Can I get you to work for 6 seconds?
Snap is good. Kick is up. Kick is through. 42-0 as we head to break. Cascade scores yet again on the ISC Sports Network.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the Knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
Just about ready for another Cadets kickoff. Broadcast tonight brought to you by FiberHawk. Now available. FiberHawk Fiber Internet. Super fast speeds, no more buffering. Perfect for all sizes of business. FiberHawk offers every speed to meet your internet needs. For more on offerings and availability, go to fiberhawk.com or call 765-922-HAWK. Fast, affordable, FiberHawk.
And we noticed last time that Cascade kicked off from the right hash after opening the game from the left. Again, that's just Coach Simmons playing some games with the other team's special teams coordinator. So now you got to practice both sides.
Barkley in the clean catch. And tumbles down just across the 20.
So again, I'm sorry, again, it's 42-0. I think you have to resist the urge to throw the football.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. We'll see if the Hot Dogs elect to go back to some of that passing game that we saw in the last drive with Dooley. But as you mentioned, Jim, you think it does better for your team if you just stick to what you're probably going to be doing consistently throughout the season.
Yeah, and probably in the future. Right now what it boils down to is we don't throw it very well. So why are we trying to – our kids are already in a very difficult spot. Why exasperate it?
Now this time it's Toby Savini, or pardon me, looking at the wrong roster there. That's Maddox Thomas, who was in at quarterback on this drive. Thomas is the only player to score a touchdown this season for the Hot Dogs, and that handoff went to Danny Jaycox on the carry. Got a decent amount as well.
So, again, maybe run either the same play or run it the other way. Now, I'll sit and watch here on Healy to see whether or not they're double teaming him, but I bet they probably did. They probably said, look, we got to control 75. To heck with the rest of them.
Thomas under center once more. Jaycox behind. Similar play call as you mentioned, Jim, and Jaycox goes for no gain on that play.
And I think they did go back to the left that time. I think the first one was to the right. So now, honestly, I know I just said don't throw the football, but now if you ran that play and then play action past it and then had your tight end block for a second and released, you might find a little something out here. But you got to show you can at least run the football. Otherwise, nobody cares about the play action. If they give it to him, what do we care?
You got to make those, second levels of the field think about, is it going to be a run? Make them assume it's going to be a run, and then by the time they're thinking it's going to be a run, you're out to pass it. Maybe something's open downfield. We've seen that work for Cascade plenty of times so far tonight. As Thomas, though, brought down for a sack in the backfield as Cascade, for the first time tonight, brings down a quarterback for a loss.
Well, they went with just more of a rollout, drop-back type pass, and it didn't work for him, as you saw.
T.J. Turner with his 5th sack of the season. Just a sophomore, 6'2", 200 pounds.
Wow, good-looking kid as you see him there. I always said I'd rather have his future than my past.
He came into this game, 39 tackles on the season. He's over 40 at this point. Barkley, a little bit closer to the center as he received the snap. Caught it cleanly, but he's not catching the ball well with his foot as that one goes out of play. So the Cadets will set up just inside of the 30-yard line in hot dog territory.
Well, that ain't helping. Obviously, again, just a lack of a – and now this is, again, I'm just telling you how I did it. You can do it however you want. But I would always go – I coach special teams, so I would go to the soccer coach, and I'd say, who has the strongest leg on this team? And then I would ask him if he would mind coming out 2 days a week. They play soccer generally on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's where the games are. So Monday and Wednesday, can I borrow this kid after your practice? Okay? And I'm going to teach him how to punt and how to kick. And we're going to at least clear the ball. I don't know. They may return it. But I'm going to get the kid, and generally was the goalie. The goalie's the guy with the strongest leg.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because you got to clear it.
Yep. This is Trebley back to pass once more. Out to the far side of the field. Caught by Hobson. Immediately met by a tackler in Barkley and brought down. Nice little gain in the play. Pick up of a few yards.
But a nice defensive football play. Again, focus on the positives. And then, you got a guy that, that can punt the football and maybe even kick a field goal every now and then, and all of a sudden you're making hay. You're making hay, right?
Have you ever recruited a soccer player to punt for you, and then they have to try and tackle on a return, and you hold your breath for a little bit? Is that a little scary?
It depended on the kid. I mean, we had some kids that were athletes, and then we had some kids that said, Coach, I got to be honest with you, I ain't tackling nobody. And I'd be like, all right, dude, you just punt the ball 45 yards.
Make sure
and
you
just
don't
run
put
off
yourself
the field.
in that position. Absolutely.
I don't care.
There's a timeout called by Cascade with 7:09 left in the second quarter.
We actually had a couple young ladies from the soccer team that came over and said, hey, I want to kick him. Again, we just told them, we'll put you in for like field goals and extra point. But if it gets blocked, sprint to the sidelines. don't even try. Your job is to kick football. I kicked it. Y'all didn't block it very good, and so it got blocked, and so I'm leaving. That's fine with me. Now, we did have kid Kevin Wine at New Palestine who he really struggled because he was a really good soccer player, but he was also a really good football player. And so, he had to decide. The soccer coach said, look, I don't want him playing any football. I don't want him playing, safety. He'd have been a great safety. He'd have been a great wide receiver.
Yeah.
He said, I'll let you. But now Kevin tackled people because he was an athlete. But most of them had no interest.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
I get that.
Yeah.
The sports from soccer to football, it's a little bit of a different beast. I just, wonder the predicament you could find yourself in if you're used to playing soccer. All of a sudden, in a flash, you got to tackle somebody who's running at you at full speed, as this is a toss to the outside that goes for very minimal gain, but making the catch and push it forward. Got the shoulder pads down.
And watch this screen, Harrison. 11 blue shirts, man. These kids have not quit. See, that's something that coach can build on. Guys, you got the effort, man. We got to work on the technique. We got to get in the weight room. We got to work on our strength. We got to work on our knowledge, our football knowledge, football IQ, if you will. There's positives that I'm seeing on this football field. Now, obviously not enough of them, but you can certainly build on it.
You talked about swarming the field in the pregame. We got a flag down here, false start, early movement. So walk back about 5 yards, third, and quite a long ways to go by Cascade standards tonight.
Yeah, it'll be about 9.5, and I said it earlier, jokingly, but seriously, as you see the helmet awards there, obviously Cascade does give helmet awards, so 67 there, or 63 and 67 are going to need like another helmet. They're going to have to play with a helmet in their hand just because they got so many awards. But, just continue to play hard and good things will happen.
This is Trebley. He was under center before the flag. This time not so much as he rolls out to his right, throws downfield. Nice catch, picking up the first down, and then eventually brought down out on the far side of the field. It was solid play there for Cascade. That's Marcus Hobson. Had 14 receptions on the season coming into this one. Pretty big one there to keep the drive alive.
And you can't argue with the result, obviously. Big play, big gain, first down, but he actually had a receiver open over the top. But, honestly, he found what he was looking for, right? I mean, who looks for their shoes and then continues to look for them? Nobody, right? He found what he was looking for, and he hit him.
Shotgun formation this time for Trebley. He's going to run it himself and just jogs into the end zone along the far side. Another great play design there from Connor Simmons. And Trebley's got a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown on the Knights. And the score is ballooned all the way up to 48-0. Pending that extra point, could get up to 49.
And again, we talked about it earlier, but scoring plays for Cascade. Play action pass, buck sweep, ISO, dive, counter, toss to a running back, and quarterback keep right.
PAT is up and through the uprights once more. So Brogan Trump remains perfect on the night. He's over 90% on the season on extra point attempts. Our broadcast tonight brought to you by Wampler's Disposal Service and Recycling. Wampler's is a place where recycling always makes sense. Please call Wampler's at 659-3721 for all your trash, recycling, and scrap needs. Wampler's Disposal Service and Recycling, family-owned since 1948. So about 5 minutes, 43 seconds until halftime. Jim, as I bring you back into this for your analysis, Cadets getting ready to kick away once more. What is some of the things you're looking for as a head coach when you're in Justin Kenzie's situation? You're getting ready to head to the halftime locker room. You're probably starting to think about, okay, what guys do I want to rotate through, don't normally start? And so what exactly are you looking for? You've talked about the watching film aspect. Get guys on film. You can get back and see, you keep using the word maul. Guys mauling guys. You may not expect to maul guys. But in live, real time, what do you think Coach Kenzie would be looking for?
Again, that's part of the guys up in the box, the coaches up in the press box are supposed to be kind of looking for stuff like that. Coaches have meetings. A lot of people think that we coach the football team and we go home. No, we go back to the office and we talk about practice. We talk about people that impressed us. We used to actually vote on a practice player of the day every day on offense and defense. And then we'd say, you know what, this kid's been the defensive practice player of the game 3 days last week. Yeah. We can't find somewhere to put that kid up.
Yeah.
We got guys that ain't doing nothing. So, you talk about that stuff and you say, all right, we're going to put in Johnson. We're going to put in Davis.
This is Thomas getting reps under center once again. First down carry. There's a whole mess of bodies in there, and about a yard picked up after all that.
And then, you go over the fact that it is going to be a running clock, and barring a comeback here of biblical proportions. So you tell the kids the rule, and you say, okay, this is the rule. This is the way it's going to be, administered out here. So we've got to do things differently a little bit. If you want to get on tape, if you want to run plays, we got to be quick, because the clock will never stop, except on, I think, scoring plays and when they kick off. But, yeah, this is where you try that backup tight end or that backup fullback.
Thomas under center again. Man goes in motion. Handoff is faked out to Jaycox. Pitched back to Barkley. Down on the ground. Players diving for it. And did Thomas get back on top of it? He did. So a bit of a scramble and a third down and way too long coming up for the Hot Dogs. And Thomas shaking the hand a little bit as he heads over to Coach Kinsey on the sideline.
Probably got a helmet to the hand. And obviously we've done at every level, really, the NFL, college, and high school, and even down into the youth leagues and middle school, taking the helmet out of the game. That you wear a helmet in case you accidentally get kicked in the head. That's why you're wearing it. You're not wearing it as a weapon.
Thomas again on the snap. Carry goes up the middle. I believe that's Jaycox. Gets shut down immediately, so the punting unit likely on the way back out. You got to be a madman to want to go for it on fourth down in this situation.
Yeah, and Coach Simmons has already subbed out quite a few defensive players there. You've got some JV kids out there. Looks like 76 running off there. Donald Moore's a freshman. He's coming off, but he played on that snap. So Coach Simmons is not running the score up, folks. If you're at home and you're thinking, when are you going to let off the gas? Well, honestly, the first half is generally considered – first half is open. It's free game. I mean, I got to work on my offense and I got to work on my defense because I'm not just trying to win this game. I'm trying to win the state. Okay, and then in the second half, you get your backups in there.
Barkley on the punt. He's going to try and fake it. And it immediately goes nowhere. He got a few yards on the play. I wonder if he just thought maybe he saw some daylight or didn't think he'd have enough time to get that kickoff. You see that work sometimes, but Barkley had a heck of a long way to go to pick up the first downs. A turnover on downs as the Cadets will get the ball back once again in friendly territory.
Yeah, you talk about that. We had punters where we gave them the green light. That kid I told you about earlier, Kevin Wine, he had that. If he just looked out and said, hey, there's nobody there, I'm a better athlete than they are. Now that time there was a really nice defensive play there by 9, Michael Langley. Langley was getting blocked and was able to just basically be more physical than the block and make the tackle to keep that from becoming a bigger game.
Trebley under center. Handoff. That's a good way to finish the play for the Hot Dogs. I believe getting in to make that stop was Jaden Boggs. No, that was Dennis Barkley, pardon me, the middle linebacker getting in there to finish up that tackle. As Mason Dixon got the carry.
A little bit, too. Again, it wasn't necessarily enough for a penalty. Kind of tossed him to the ground a little bit, and they did call it. Okay.
All right, yep, there
so
it is.
So it was enough.
Yep.
It was very, very close, and the whistle had blown, and then he just kind of finished with the hip flexor, the judo, throw him over your hip kind of thing, and the officials just not going to have it. I barely even saw that flag on the ground.
Now, your eyes saw it better than mine, but obviously saw the official signal for it. A little bit just too much on that tackle there from, I believe that was Barkley. So,
yeah,
and good field position once again. Yeah, we talked about, finishing plays, put in that 100% effort, but there's kind of that line in football. You got to walk it finely sometimes. As this is Hobson on a carry into the end zone from the sweep from one side of the field to the other. Marcus Hobson with his third rushing touchdown on the night.
Now, once again, you got Lyman downfield, 54, 63. Gunnar White, Brody Duncan. Anytime the the lineman beat the running back to the end zone, I gave him a helmet award.
I'm sure there'll be a few more helmet awards being handed out tonight for the Cadets. As you see all the players, they've racked up a lot of them over the years. Imagine they do plenty on a consistent basis to earn some more as that kick is up and good. 55-0 is where the lead climbs for Cascade. It's a team that well on their way to a 5-0 start for the second consecutive year. They've had a heartbreak in their last two sectional losses, an overtime loss 2 years ago. Last year, there was a field goal at about 3 minutes left that ultimately undid things in a game that they lost by 2. You think that this team, you kind of look at that heartbreak and a lot of these guys have been starting for the last few seasons. A lot of the guys you see on the field tonight probably were playing in that sectional loss 2 years ago. Probably were playing in the sectional loss the year prior.
Yep.
Do you think that just kind of better prepares you for the moment when you get to this point? It's your senior year. You've lost some of those close games.
Yeah, if you take advantage of it. I know when I was at Chittard, we lost to the eventual state champion like 4 years in a row. The team that beat us in the playoffs went on to win it all. So our motto that year was, we're tired of being close. And our kids practiced, and they lifted in the weight room like they were tired of being close.
And that kick goes out for a touchback. Second one of the night for Trump.
Third of the year. But, yeah, I mean, those are things in coaching. Look, like I said earlier, some of it's you got to be a little bit of a salesman, and we used to kind of let our kids decide their own motto or mantra that they wanted to carry. But we influenced it, right? And so, we kept saying, guys, we're always getting close, aren't we? I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being close. And then later on, when they decided, we like that, coach. And that became our T-shirt, and again, but more importantly, anybody can say it. They practiced like it, and they lifted like it.
Maddox Thomas under center once again. Another pitch goes out wide, but early movement on the Hot Dogs. So it was Blaine Varner who had the ball in his hands when the play was blown dead.
My old buddy Craig Barr used to say, and he was the head coach of those Chittard teams, is, when enough people care, we'll win. See, right now we got about 27 people who care. Well, we keep getting beaten in the regional or whatever, so that ain't enough. I don't know. I don't know what the number is. I don't know if it's 50 or 31 or what, but 27 ain't it.
Yeah.
Right? When enough people care, we'll win.
So you said you were tired of being close. How'd things go for you that season?
Well, we won state championship.
There you go.
And we were fortunate enough because that team had talent. Honestly, it did. We had Mr. Football, DeJuan Daniels, 1997 Chittard Mr. Football.
Okay.
We had Andy Som, who went and played quarterback at Bowling Green, ultimately played for Urban Meyer. We had talent. We should have won. Honestly, we should have won. We had good kids who had worked really, really hard, and we were more talented. We should have won. In 98, honestly, we didn't have a single guy play Division I football. And yet we ran, we didn't run the table, but we won state. We were 13-2. But because the kids in 97 showed the kids in 98 how hard you have to work to really do it.
It's a good example of the team game that football is, as Hayden Shipley takes a pitch out to the left. And close to that first down marker right at the 30-yard line here on third down. It's going to be about 2 yards to get it. 2:20 left here in the second quarter.
To build on that, Harrison, there's every coach in this state will tell you what they think you have to do to win a state championship. These 5 things, these 8 things, these 7 things, whatever. The truth of the matter is it ain't but about 10% have ever done it.
Well, I'll tell you how you do it. You win games. And then you keep winning when you get to the postseason and you don't lose. That's how you win a state championship, Jim.
But you got to know what it looks like, and there were plenty of years when we coached, and I told the kids, gentlemen, I know what it looks like, and it don't look like this.
Early movement once again, second time on this drive. Hot Dogs right there, unless we got a timeout beforehand.
They got it. Just in time.
The play clock was winding down, so Kinsey called that timeout. It looked like there might have been some movement on the interior of that offensive line. But fortunately for Frankfort, that was not the case. All right, Jim, you're in that huddle. You're on the headset. You're talking to your quarterback. You're familiar with a wing T style offense. What play are you running here to try and pick up a first down?
Well, you saw Cascade run that little crisscross inside reverse where they handed it like a sweep right, and then he gave it back there, pitched it back to the – I'd try to come up with either – it doesn't have to be a pitch. You can crisscross it with hands or handoffs as well, but I'd run a crisscross. I mean, I'd just try to get them running one way and try to beat them back the other.
We'll see if they do that. I believe, out on the far side of the field. I can't tell if it's number 8 or number 9. If it's 8, that's Kiefer Dooley lined up as a wide receiver. But you got Thomas under center. Man goes in motion. Handoff goes up the gut. And right at that first down marker, we'll see if it's enough for Jay Cox. That is Xavier Taylor, by the way, number 9. Kiefer Dooley not in the game.
I think that football, I saw the leather there flash, and he's just a smidge short. Now we'll see. Nope,
they're moving him.
Yep, they gave it to him.
Moving the chains.
That's good. Whatever. I mean, it has no effect on the game.
Trying to take away a hot dog first down, Jim?
No, I'm not. And I'm sure Coach Simmons has no problem with it either. It was awfully close, and this at the score like this, just let's play football. because he's got backup kids in here, and he wants to see if they can play.
Yep, absolutely. 1:05 left to play here in the second quarter. So some of these guys that Coach Kinsey has put on the field here late in this first half, I don't know about you, Jim, but I think you see some positive signs with them.
Yeah.
They're just they're finding ways, I feel like, to just kind of fall forward on these plays, pick up some yards. It's not anything fancy.
Nope.
It's not crazy big plays, but they're just moving it forward.
Yeah, got a good gain there. Here's the deal. Effort, man. You know, I had all these things. You probably figured it out by now. I had a billion of them. But,
hey, you were a coach. You got to have sayings if you're a
I'd
coach,
say, gentlemen, I don't know the secret of life, but I know, or I don't know the meaning of life, but I know the secret, and the secret is effort. If you're not giving total effort, you're not going to win. I don't care what you're doing.
Alex Thomas under center once again. That's not just football advice, coaching advice. That's life advice.
It is. It is.
And we got a fumble, and Savini's going to return it for another touchdown. So north of 60 points goes the Cadets as a play just goes wrong all of a sudden for the Hot Dogs. It was a pitch out to the left, and Savini just picked it up and ran with it. One of the few starters still getting some action here late in the first half.
Well, and you also, too, as a coach, you want to kind of mix and match. You don't want to take all your starters out. You know, like, for example, whenever I put the backup quarterback in, I would keep the first offensive line in for like a series or two. I want to see what the kid can do with real blocking. When we bring the JV blocking in and he's running for his life, well, I mean, I can't see what he can do.
Well, for Savini, I don't know what you call this statistically, but he's got touchdowns on offense this season, touchdowns on special teams this season, and now he's got a scoop and score for a defensive touchdown on the year. You talk about a guy who does a little bit of everything. We talked about tonight. You get guys who plays both ways all the time in high school football. Savini he's playing in all three phases of the game, and he's scoring in all three phases of the game.
Yeah, and he may be like basically the reason he's in there. He's probably the defensive captain. He's calling the fronts. He's calling the blitzes or the stunts, and so you got to make sure that you're lined up right. And so he's the guy that's going to make them line up right, and that's probably the reason he's still in the game now. I don't look for him to play a lot in the second half. I think we've already got a backup kicker in, so it looks like a 70 number.
And we'll try to get back to you guys on that one. Is it 63-0?
I got binoculars here, but they're no good when they're in the case.
We'll have you report back on that, Jim, as our unidentified kicker gets ready to boot this one away.
72.
And that would be Gabriel Glaze who kicks this one. And it is picked up by the Cadets. They'll try to get a return out of it. Tackler shed. And up against that sideline and across the 30-yard line. It was a pretty solid return from Jaden Davis. With 5 seconds left to do something with it. We'll see if it plays run or if the Hot Dogs just take a knee and head to the halftime locker room.
I wouldn't take a knee. I'd run one of my plays. You know, I'd try to run a trap or a buck sweep or something where, you know, I can, again, get something on film and just show kids, look, this guy wasn't blocked. Why wasn't he blocked? You know, you got to teach the game. You know, people, I heard this all the time. Say, well, our football coach was a terrible classroom teacher. Well, I find that hard to believe unless he was a terrible football coach. Because football coaches are teachers. We just teach football, okay, and we teach life and we teach that stuff. I'd run a football play.
And it looks like they're going to do just that. A couple of players go in motion. Flags in the air, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be whistled. I thought it was going to be whistled dead, but it's not. Play still ran to its completion.
Yeah, that's just an illegal shift, so they let it run. It wasn't a false start. You had two guys in motion at the snap.
That's a good eyes by you, Jim. You know the rule book inside and out, as you should. It's all that coaching experience you've been mentioning tonight. So 1 second left here in the half as the Hot Dogs will walk back a little bit. And now the clock will run, and now we will hit halftime. Halftime show cut up for you in just a few minutes. Cascade 63, Frankfurt 0 on the ISC Sports Network.
At Wampler's Disposal and Recycling, we take pride in offering waste management for commercial and residential clients. As an industry leader, Wampler's Disposal and Recycling brings the most professional and responsive collection service in the business. Since 1948, our family-owned and operated company has provided excellent service at competitive rates. We offer container rentals as well. Our longevity in the industry is a testament to our excellent service. We serve all of Clinton, Tippecanoe, Boone, Howard, and Carroll counties. For all your waste removal needs, call Wampler Services Incorporated today. You can reach us at 765-659-3721. Visit us online at wamplerservicesinc.com.
Welcome to Trinity Hope Center. Here we are actively engaged in our recovery community with a multitude of activities including peer recovery coaching, a full computer lab, grief groups, relapse prevention, pre- and postnatal support group, educational workshops for family members with addicted loved ones, expungent workshops, parent cafes, Saturday pro-social activities, recovery walk club, book club, and even video game nights. For more information, give us a call at 765-250-1845.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
Get a good look at the Frankfort High School band there. That is your halftime show, the football halftime show with Harrison Silcox and Jim Leisure getting started as well as we break down our thoughts on the first half presented by the Willow Creek Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. You see the scoreboard at the bottom right corner of your screen there, Cascade 63, Frankfort 0. If you're not familiar with Cascade, they're the third-ranked team in 3A. They've got aspirations for a deep postseason run this year. They've got plenty of returning talent from last year's team, plenty of talent that was around a couple of years ago, and a year before that as well. And I think, Jim, as I bring you in for our thoughts of the first half, the experience of varsity ball that is all throughout this Cadets roster, top to bottom, not even just the starters, but some of the guys who are coming in and getting minutes later in this game. I think that's really showing right now just in terms of execution, especially in the offensive end.
Well, and again, you got to remember Connor Simmons is in his 6th year, and Coach Kinsey is just in his 1st, and who knows? I mean, in 5 or 6 years, perhaps, Frankfort will be in a similar position where they've had kids in their program for 4 years. They know the terminology, they know the expectations, and, it could be, a different story. We'll see. I think right now the experience in coaching and having the staff together is kind of what you're seeing out there.
And we talked about this a little bit as well late in the second quarter. We started to see some of it then as well. But likely going to see some more backups and stuff like that come in. So one thing that Simmons has had, and I'll talk about this more in the second half because I think it speaks volume to how he's built what he's built at Cascade, but he's been around a lot of these kids for a long time. Some of them he was coaching them outside of football and other sports before they even got to Cascade as high schoolers. You talk about that familiarity that he's just been able to build with this team. And then on the flip side at Frankfort, Kinsey in his first year trying to build some of that. And so then when you get in these second halves of games where your backups are going to get some time, how valuable is it where, right, you have that experience of your Simmons where you've known these guys the last 6 years who are seniors now, but he's also getting a head start on the guys who are going to be next up after them. Or if you're head coach Kinsey on Frankfurt's side, you're getting a head start on what you're going to try and build from this year to the next year to the next.
Yeah, I mean, and you've already said it, and if you folks at home can't tell, we coached – we taught football, but we coached life, okay? I mean, the blocking and the tackling, you're not going to use that. Most kids aren't going to use that after high school, okay? Some will, but most won't. But the life lessons are the most important thing. So what you're talking about is relationships. Coach Simmons has built a relationship, a personal relationship with these kids. These kids know that he cares about them and that he wants the best for them. There's going to be times when he's going to have to get on them and he's going to have to really get in their face and the parents could be like, well, you don't have to. And that kid's going, Mom, it's okay because I know. Yeah, because I know he cares about me. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a cliche. It's an old saying, but one many that we use. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. All right? I can't yell at a kid, and I would imagine Coach Kinsey is tempering the explosions, as coaches are wont to do every now and then, early, because he doesn't have that relationship with these kids. They're going to think, well, this guy just doesn't like me, okay, and he's mad at me and he hates me. Coach Simmons can probably get in their rear end a little bit more because they're like, look, I know Coach, he does like me. He's mad at my effort. He's mad at my knowledge. I came into the game. I didn't look at the score, the scouting report. It's just different worlds right now. Connor Simmons is living in a different world than Justin Kinsey is. Now, there's no reason to think Justin Kinsey can't get there, but it takes years to build. Justin Kinsey's got to get involved at the youth league level here in Frankfort, get some of his coaches involved. It doesn't even have to be Kinsey. If he can just have people with Frankfurt hot dog jerseys, not jerseys, but coaching shirts, show up to those games and just talk to the kids for 2 minutes. You don't even have to stay for the whole game. Show up right before the game ends and just go, guys, I love watching you play. You played hard. And then the coach goes, hey, that guy's the defensive line coach at the high school, and he cares enough to come down and watch you guys play. When I did that in our youth league at New Palestine, I would try to catch the ending of one game, the beginning of the next game. You're only there about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, but 4 teams got to hear you talk, and 4 teams got to hear you say, look, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the big field with turf. Supposedly turf is coming here at Frankfurt. I don't know when, but those kinds of things. It just takes time. This job, again, jobs don't come open because everything's perfect. They come open because, honestly, it needs to be rebuilt.
Yeah, it's hard to find a perfect situation for a new head coach to step into because, there's always reasons for vacancies and whatnot and all sorts of other things that, whatever it may be. And so, yeah, you mentioned Kinsey, and he's walking into a situation as a first-year coach and the team that didn't win a game last year. They're still looking for their first win this season, so it's all about just finding those moments of growth. You talk a little bit about, before we head to break, on what you said on the Simmons side of things, where he knows those kids. Mm-hmm. He knows, he can get into them a little bit, and there's that understanding there. Lou Holt's assistants, back when he was at Notre Dame, would tell the players, don't listen to how he says it, just listen to the words he says. And I think that's an important thing, and it just reminded me of that when it comes to coaching and the relationship with your players.
Yeah, and I'm a big Lou Holtz fan as well. I use a lot of Lou's stuff. I've read all his books and his leadership books. One of the things we did, and I hope that Justin Kinsey does, I would imagine Connor Simmons does to a degree, is we started a leadership program with our kids, our seniors and our juniors. See, people just assume that because they're seniors they should lead. Well, they say that. They're like, well, look, they're seniors. They should know how to lead. Really? I mean, does everybody know how to play the harmonica? Well, I mean, that guy's, he's 80. He should know how to play the harmonica, right? No. See, just because you're in the 12th grade does not mean you know how to lead. So you as coaches have to develop a leadership program.
Absolutely.
Show them what leadership is. More importantly, show them what it's not. Leadership is not entitlement. Leadership is not, rights and it's responsibilities. That's what it is. Don't tell me, well, I got senior rights. I don't have to carry the dummies. Son, you're a senior. You should be carrying the dummies because it's your senior year.
Yeah.
These kids get to come back next year. This is it for you. And we really harped on that stuff. We told him, bullying the young kid. You hear about it all the time. Hazing, bullying. What sense does that make? You're a senior. You're going to pick on these sophomores. And then late in the regional championship game, this sophomore is going to have to get in and play. And now you want him to lay his life on the line for you? Well, you've done nothing but pick on him all year long. He ain't going to do nothing for you. And I don't blame you, But if you show that kid that you care about him as a person and a player, he'll run through a brick wall for you. And maybe you will get that ring. God, I'll tell you, coaching is exhausting. It's exhausting.
You sound like a man who's happy to be retired.
I am now. But, I will tell you, when I was coach, I couldn't get enough of it. Every aspect of it we attacked, and if we were either getting better or getting worse. And we at the end of the year, we would sit down as coaches and we evaluated the entire program, everything to how we stretched in pregame to how we ran the trap. And the only unacceptable answer is, well, that's because that's just the way we've always done it. Well, that ain't an answer. Why do we run the trap the way we do? Well, because we believe this, that, and the other. Is there any reason to believe otherwise? And then somebody could say, well, when I coached over here, we did it this way. Okay, why did you do it that way? And then again, they may come up with something that made you go, okay. Hey, I changed my drills all the time. I would go to clinics, and I would listen to college coaches and have them explain why they were doing things. And I think, that makes more sense than the way I'm doing it. And then I'd come back next year and I'd tell the kids, hey, man, last winter I got to hear Purdue's O-line coach or the O-line coach for the Baltimore Ravens or whomever, and we're going to do it that way. And kids love that stuff. They're like, oh, wow, we're doing NFL stuff. Well, yeah, but it's still just blocking and tackling. It's just, honestly, there's a lot of people smarter than me. And I finally ran into one of them, and I got his way. So, listen, man, again, I know it looks bleak for Frankfort right now. It does. But, honestly, Brett Colby had a great run here. Brett Colby, I think I had it in here. When Brett was here, he was 79-44 and won 3 sectionals. Same field, same group of kids, basically. He just had a unique offense that the kids believed in. They believed in the coaches believed in the kids. And it can be done. Is it easy? No, it ain't easy. But if it was easy, there would be 400 guys on the football team. The reason there's only 40-some is because it's hard. And I always told the kids how much I appreciated their effort. If we had a great practice and it's hot, it's 90 degrees like this week, man, I'd helmets off and take the shoulder pads off. And then I would just tell them, God, guys, I really admire you and I appreciate your effort. You had every reason, every excuse to come out here and go through the motions, but you didn't. You came out here and you gave me your all, and that's all I can ask for. I can't yell at you for being slow. That's not fair, okay? I can yell at you for poor effort. I can yell at you for not being prepared with your scouting report and those things. But if you give me your best effort, I don't care. We used to run 20-yard sprints. We didn't run the long ones. Our thing was the average football play lasts about 4.5 seconds, about 20 yards. So why are we running 40s? It's not football specific, right? I mean, it just don't have hundreds. When was the last time you had a 100-yard play? You get like 3 a year. So why are we running hundreds? This ain't the track team. We run 20-yard sprints. Let's get on the line. Boom, boom, boom. And we would time it. There's 40 seconds between plays. We'd run a 20. 30 seconds later, we'd run another one. Because that's, why are we doing this? Because it doesn't make any sense. So do it the way it makes sense.
If you keep giving some coaching advice, you got to start charging people or something. You're giving away good stuff for free. We got first half highlights coming around after this.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com.
I brought you a present. A book.
Follow the adventures of the Ardente Dental team as they fight cavities, gum disease, and create beautiful, healthy smiles.
Inconceivable. Hello, my name is Dr. Snyder. You cause cavities. Prepare to die. Inconceivable. To make your smile look straight and fine, our braces per month are just $1.99. Inconceivable.
You keep using that word, I do not think it means what you think it means.
Have fun at Ardente Dental.
Welcome to Trinity Hope Center. Here we are actively engaged in our recovery community with a multitude of activities including peer recovery coaching, a full computer lab, grief groups, relapse prevention, pre- and postnatal support group, educational workshops for family members with addicted loved ones, expungent workshops, parent cafes, Saturday pro-social activities, recovery walk club, book club, and even video game nights. For more information, give us a call at 765-250-1845.
In this town, game day starts long before kickoff. It's the work behind the scenes that makes champions. At Tier 1 Meat Company, we prep with the same focus, discipline, and pride as the hometown heroes we feed. From our block to your block, fuel every victory. Tier 1 Meat Company. Mission, feed the fans. Standard, champion quality. Scan the QR code for a game day upgrade.
Got some first half highlights for you. This was the first score of the game. Our first half highlights presented by Mulberry Telecommunications, the best gig in town. And it's been all Cascade here in this opening half. That's Marcus Hobson, the first of 3 different rushing touchdowns for him there. You're getting a look at one of the early carries in a hot dogs drive. This is a nice finish to a play and a punt return, and this is a big carry as you see Quincy Allen, the touchdown-saving tackle here on Dayton Mink, who broke free for a big gain. Later on that drive, though, Mink right here finishes it off. His first rushing score of the game. Watch this kick return, though, from Quincy Allen. He bobbled it before, and then all of a sudden broke free. best field position of the day for the Hot Dogs. They would fumble on the next play, and this is how the next drive would work out for Cascade as Savini finds some open space. Little catch and run there on the following play. It's been a methodical effort from Cascade here this first half. No, that's not a rerun of the same play before. That was Dayton Mink and another rushing touchdown. Cascade back with the ball again. Second rushing touchdown for Marcus Hobson. Now Savini once more. There's some athletes that Cascade has out on the field tonight. His speed that is all over this offense. Their ball carriers have been very efficient tonight. As you're getting a look at Daniel Jaycox on that last play, who's been performing very well. Our lone sack of the night was right there, and then this is Mink shedding a few tacklers once more. A team effort from the Hot Dogs to bring him down. Hobson on a first down catch. That was the only third down Cascade had faced on the night. Barkley got met by some tacklers on the near side. Barkley's been busy in all three phases. He's been punting, he's been rushing, been playing defense as well. That play was later flagged. Keep that drive alive, and Hobson would get his third rushing touchdown of the night right then and there. Another Jaycox carry. There's some extra snaps for him tonight. Vega went down hurt earlier in this game, as head coach Justin Kinsey went with some of his backups toward the end of the first half. And this is a fumble return for a touchdown. Savini getting that defensive score, his first defensive score on the season. He's got a score in all three phases of the game himself. Get a look at the following kick return after that. It was a good one as well. A couple positive plays in there for the Hot Dogs, despite what you may see on the scoreboard. We're going to have a running clock in the second half. Before we get to the second half, though, we'll talk about adjustments. Jim Leisure and myself will. That's right after this on the ISC Sports Network.
Frankfurt Eagles 976 has bingo every Wednesday night. Early birds beginning at 6 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 7 p.m. Packets are $25 and includes every game you need to play. They also have Saturday bingo the first Saturday of every month, with early birds starting at 4 p.m. and regular bingo starting at 5 p.m. Big game payouts each game with 3 to 4 chances to win different jackpot games each day. Great for individuals or groups because everyone enjoys winning lots of money. You must be 18 years or older to play.
At Day and Genda Funeral Home, we embrace change while staying true to timeless values. Our commitment to putting families first remains steadfast. With up-to-date practices and unwavering compassion, we offer the highest quality of service for your loved ones. Trust to serve your family with a classic commitment in modern times. Day and Genda Funeral Home, putting family first.
Some see a wrestling match. We see a 6-minute lesson in grit. Some see a coach sending a runner home. We see a mentor guiding a student athlete into the future. Proud to keep education in front of athletics since 1903.
Back at halftime, Cascade Cadets on their way back out after a very, very successful first and second quarter. It is 63-0 at the halftime break. I'm Harrison Silcox, Jim Leisure up here with me in the press box as we go through our adjustments you can expect to see in the third or fourth quarter, presented by JXN Stump Solutions, rooted in service, driven to remove. So, Jim, we kind of talked about this a little bit. We touched on it several times throughout the broadcast. I think the biggest adjustment we're going to see here, maybe it's too obvious, but, we're going to see some different players on the field. And the coaches go into some of the second and third stringers and guys they want to see get some reps.
Yeah, several years ago, the IHSA, prompted by the National Federation of High Schools rules, but went to the 35-point mercy rule, if you will. In baseball, we call it the run rule. Football coaches still call it the run rule. 35 points or more in the second half. Now, the one thing I don't like about the rule, and I don't think it's going to happen tonight, but it could be 35-0 at halftime, and the other team return the opening kickoff. All right, and now it's 35-7, and then you onside kick and you score again, it's 35-14. The clock still runs, and I don't like that. I think when you get it under 35, it ought to go back to regular scoring. If it goes back over 35, then go back to running clock.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Understandable.
Of course, nobody asked me. But I sat by the phone patiently.
I was saying, was that my question? I wasn't sure.
No, I just going on a rant there. But, it's such a fine line between sportsmanship. You don't ever want to rub it in on anybody because, honestly, there before the grace of God go you. Someday you may not have the horses, and the other team that you hung 80 on may want to, hang it on you. So you got to be very delicate as a coach, sportsmanship-wise. But more than that, I don't want to get any of my starters hurt in a 63-0 football game.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's more than that. Years ago, I was at Mount Vernon. We're up 49-0 at halftime in a sectional game, and all the starters they played one possession in the third quarter. Offense, defense, one possession, and they were off. Score ended up 49-14. The official came over after the game and said, "Hey, great job sportsmanship-wise." And I told him, I said, "Thank you, sir," but ultimately it was more about not wanting to get players hurt. Okay, if I get a quarterback hurt, if I get my best running back, or if I lose Trebley here in a 63-0 football game, I'm going to want to kill myself because it's like, why was he even in the game? Okay, and so there's a lot of things you can do. Run basic football plays. No more reverses. No more, outside perimeter stuff. Clearly, Cascade has a speed advantage. Run the ball between the tackles. Try to use as much clock as you can. The 40-second clock does still apply. So you can run up there and you can snap it with under 5 seconds to go and try to give everybody a chance there. And, you can still do that and save some face. And Coach Kinsey and his staff can still work on their football plays.
Opportunity for improvements from either side, really. And we talked about it a little bit. If you're Coach Simmons, you can kind of look at some of the guys you're going to have coming through and years down the line beyond this one. And then also for Kinsey, you're thinking about, okay, who are some of these guys that I can look to where I can see, right, where's the potential at, where's the ceiling at, where can I take this program in years to come. So it's the same whether you're in your 6th year and you're competing for a state title and competing for your first sectional championship since 1992, or if you're a coach who's got a team who's, 0-10 last year, 0-4 so far this year, and you're in your first year with the team. Let's talk for a moment, though. You were researching on your phone very diligently during the break. You got some scoring updates from around the state.
Yeah, and really we tried to focus mainly on the Monon Conference here. I was able to find a couple. Now, I was using WTHR's Operation 13, give credit where credit is due, and sometimes people don't always report to that particular outlet. So I had Greencastle 34-20 over North Putt at halftime, so they're winning by 2 touchdowns. South Putt, who I know is not in the conference, but again, Putnam County, 10-0 over Sullivan in the second. I also got, again, these are not conference games necessarily, but they're teams around here. Western of Kokomo area, which is where Coach Colby now coaches. His son Austin is the head coach, and Brett is the assistant. Tied at 7 in the third quarter at Hamilton Heights, and then Eastern of Kokomo is playing Carroll of Flora, and they are winning 14-7 at half.
All right, and we will have the second half for you right after this on the ISC Sports Network. Good time.
We've all heard the question, if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Honestly, we're not sure either. But what we do know is that if it falls in your yard, it usually leaves behind an unsightly stump that you'll be stuck mowing around. At JXN Stump Solutions, we'll get rid of that stump for good, and here's the best part. We offer free estimates, so you'll know the cost before the work begins. We deliver quality work from a professional, locally owned company with a commitment to leaving your property cleaner, safer, and stump-free. Contact us today at 242-9523. At JXN Stump Solutions, we're rooted in service and driven to remove.
Running a small business. Your hands are full. We can help. FiberHawk partners with local companies by providing business class internet, phone, TV, and customized bundles to meet your needs. Our fiber-powered system delivers reliable speed with enhanced security. Running a business is tough. Contact FiberHawk today and let our expert team give you a hand.
Cascade kicked off to start the game, so they will receive here in the second half. First time Frankfort will be kicking off all night tonight.
And Cascade actually did win the toss and chose to defer, which a lot of teams do. Cascade's front five up right on the 50-yard line, the free kick line, and again, they're probably expecting perhaps an onside kick. I'd be surprised, but, that's...
And be prepared for anything, right?
Yep.
So no onside, no surprises thrown out by the Hot Dogs. An opportunity for a return here for Cascade. That 12th defender of the sideline comes into play there. as Michael Langley was tripped up on that near sideline at around the 33-yard line. This might be the worst field position Cascade has had all night to start a drive.
It very well may be. I'll go ahead and give the tackle to Maddox Thomas, number 5, the junior there. Like you said, using the sideline well, and he's the one that kind of ushered him out of bounds here. Already I can see some relatively clean shirts on the offensive line out there. So
absolutely, some fresh faces in the game for sure, which was expected.
Yep, 64 Sam Starica, senior, 5'9". He's at left tackle. No, I'm sorry, left guard.
Got Luke Austin in at quarterback.
Wyatt Estworthy, the center, 77.
Jackson Krober behind him. Similar formation, just different guys out there to execute. This is a pitch out to the far side of the field as Wyatt Setti went in motion, got the football, and was brought down on a short gain on the play. Second down on the way next.
When we talked again about things you can build upon, I see a lot of blue shirts at that football, Harrison. I just do. And that's guys that aren't quitting, and they're swarming to the ball, and you can build on that.
Second and about 7. Handoff up the gut. And a room to run here for Mason Minner, who gets across the first down marker.
Normally the clock would stop while they set the chains, and the officials will still go through the same motions. I mean, honestly, it's hard for them not to. That's what they're trained to do, but the clock operator knows to not stop it.
Really, a lot of it stays the same. Just get that clock that keeps moving. So players out there trying to do their jobs. Same goes for the officials, coaches who are trying to call plays. You get some more motion here out of the wing tee. Green grass on the right side of the field. It's another first down picked up for Cascade. That handoff went to Caleb Powers, 5'8" junior, 155 pounds.
Looks like a shift change over there at Cascade. A lot of white shirts on and off.
Hockey line changes, yeah. A bit more methodical. And this time around for Cascade, has seen a lot of explosive plays from them on offense, but a crop of new players in on the field with Luke Austin, a sophomore under center, sends a man in motion. Handoff going up the middle once again.
Austin does a nice job there, again, of delaying at the line. We saw Cascade getting up to the line quickly in the first half. I mean quickly, like snapping the ball with 35 seconds left on the play clock, but he took that down to about 15.
They're an aggressive style of how they play. I think in the modern football, you look at teams, they like to be fast. Speed is part of it, not just during the play, but in between.
Sure.
But also, this is a team that they punted 3 times last year. A lot of that was because Simmons and his team collectively decided, we want to be aggressive on 4th down. It wasn't necessarily we got to play breaking free here or possibly another touchdown. Tackle just inside the 5-yard line is Gage Minardo as the sophomore found some space along the near side. But, that style of offense, when all the starters are out there, it is go, 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 go. And last year, they punted more this year. But a year ago, they were, we want to be more aggressive on 4th down. And it's something that they really liked. It became an identity of theirs. And it clearly paid dividends. 10-win season.
Yep.
First time they've had that since pre-2010. So it is a bit of a style that these players bring out.
Yeah, and some of it, honestly, is just simple math. You get to run more plays, and the more plays you run, the more opportunities to score.
As you've got Austin who's going to try to throw to the end zone, intended target there, Dalton Godby. It goes incomplete. We've seen a decent amount of passes thrown tonight, but really not a ton of completions. First play of the game was a passing touchdown that was thrown by Trebley, his only passing touchdown of the night to Toby Savini. But outside of that, Jim, not really. We've seen the passing attempts there from Cascade. I'm not saying this as a concern or anything, just an observation in general. It's just when they have gone out to pass, it's been some incompletions. Darren Barkley had a nice pass breakup in the first quarter. If you want to go all the way back to there, as this pitch goes out to the right. And some good tackling there from Josh Taylor, who met Trevor Graham in the backfield.
Nice job of just seeing that hole and filling it.
3rd and goal. Frankfort hoping for their first defensive stop of the night. Would be a bend but don't break here moment if they can hold Frankfort or hold Cascade, that is, to a field goal attempt. Play clock winds down to around 15 seconds.
I like it. Just go ahead. You don't have to be in a hurry. Let's just use as much of the clock, and we'll try to score. Don't get me wrong.
Luke Austin going to roll out to the near side. He's a righty, though, so has to adjust his body to get the throw off. Same intended target as the last pass play, and Godby, it falls incomplete. Same result as the last passing play as well. And are we going to see a field goal attempt here? Or are they going to go for it on 4th and goal? It looks like they're going to do just that from the 6 as quarterback Luke Austin remains in the game.
See, I would kick it here because you're on the right hash, and you don't want your kicker's first real field. He's 0 for 1 on the season, but you may have to win a sectional championship game on a field goal, and you don't want that. I'd like to have him 5 or 10 opportunities. You don't want him to kick the game-winning field goal in a sectional championship game for just the second time all year. I'd go ahead and kick here. I would, just to give my kid practice and to give the team practice, the field goal PAT team.
Well, Simmons not going to take your advice that time around. They pitch it to the outside, and that is a turnover on downs. Hot Dogs hit their first stop on the night.
Well, hats off to Coach Kinsey and his defensive staff there. Again, still got quite a few starters in the ballgame, and that's okay. Those kids need to play.
I believe that was Hayden Shipley, one of the players in there to make that stop. It's a great job on the 4th down stop. Funny enough, good luck offense. You're pinned up against your own end zone.
Run it
Got
downhill.
to try and avoid a safety here and
run it downhill. You can
enjoy the field position.
Yeah, you can even quarterback sneak it. But again, I don't like the wide pitches where you pitch it 5 yards deep, because now the kid has to gain 5 yards just to get back to the line of scrimmage. If you're going to hand it to somebody, hand it to the guy behind you who's coming downhill.
So it is Thomas from the 2. Handoff, and they'll get the breathing room that they need.
You got a couple.
And a couple yards picked up as well. So good job to get yourself out of a sticky situation. As Jay Cox on the carry.
See, once again, you had a lead blocker there in number 5 who literally was behind the ball carrier. Maddox Thomas, who we mentioned his name in a positive way a second ago, but you got to get these people in front of you. And some of that's the back. There were times when we'd hand the ball to the back, and he basically would run not where the hole is and get killed, and then everyone would go, come on, line. And say, well, if he'd have ran where the hole was, he'd have been all right.
It's got to have that vision.
Yeah.
Easier said than done until, you're in those shoes. Jay Cox gets it here, tries to run up the middle again, falls forward for about 2.
Still moving forward. And, again,
a lot of movement in the wing tee offense. Lineman moving here, you're pulling guards. Terminology is better than I do, Jim. But how much of it is also just comes down to the timing of everything, to making sure guys are hitting spots they're supposed to hit at the right time for your running back, or
timing is,
when you're going out wide and whatever it may be. How critical is timing when you're moving offensive linemen around the way they do?
It's absolutely critical. It all has to time up. Again, you don't want to have to block for too long. You want the blocker to get there just in front of the ball carrier.
It's a pitch that goes out wide to Varner. Immediately met in the backfield. Davian Robinson, one of 3 different cadets in there to make the stop. 4th down coming up.
I can remember years ago during the scrimmages that they have, in preseason, where the coaches are on the field and offensive coaches were out there, and we were going to run a play and hadn't had a lot of, we called it just kick, but we were going to run kick, and we hadn't had a lot of success with it because it just wasn't hitting fast enough. And I can remember the white hat official was he's a football fan. He's out there officiating, but he was interested. And I told the offensive coordinator, I said, it's too slow, Coach. We can't run that play. It's too slow. It doesn't hit quick enough. Well, we hit it for a touchdown. He goes, looks like it hit pretty good to me. I said, well, that one did.
Here's a new punter in the game, Logan Light. Bad Hot Dogs bounce, but he gets it just past the 35. That's where the Cadets will take over. 2:45. Remember, that clock is running here in the second half. And as Cascade comes out on offense, broadcast tonight brought to you by Abstract Technology Group, doing IT differently but making it simple. Abstract Technology Group does exactly that, whether you're located in Indianapolis, Lafayette, or all points surrounding and in between. Call 765-420-TECH or visit abstracttechgroup.com, where Abstract making it simple. So here in the late stages of the third quarter, that clock is moving. Cascade on their way to a 5-0 start to the season. Quarterback keeper on this one, and room to scamper as well. Austin trying to get to that far pylon. He's eventually spun down at the end of the play by Blaine Varner, who potentially saved a touchdown there.
Yeah, you're going to see Varner here just take I thought he was going to take a bad angle, but he got just enough of him. Defensive pursuit is all about taking an angle that's about 2 yards deeper than the ball carrier. Your aiming point is you can always come back up. Okay, you can always go past him and then come back up and make a play. But if you take a bad angle and you end up behind him, well, somebody wake up the band. It's a touchdown.
Wake up the band, and you can watch that on film the following Monday.
Yeah.
And Jim will tell you about why your angle is not correct.
Correct. And I'll stop it, and I'll say, see where you are. I'll take the little pointer. This is where you need to be. It's teaching, man. And you know what? Some kids will go, I got it. You know what, Coach? You said it. I never really knew. You showed me, though, and now I know what you're talking about.
There's nothing like sweating in a film room while your coach pauses the film and get the little laser pointer.
Yeah.
Who's this 95 over here? You're supposed to be there.
You know what, honestly, and I remember as a high school kid, and we had the old projectors, they go, those things.
That's
so, I mean,
old school.
Yeah.
There's a generation listening to this, you just took them back.
Yeah. No, it was not fun. It was a little more fun as a coach than it was as a player.
Oh, I'm sure. Second and goal coming up for Cascade. The team has become very familiar with putting at least 20 points on the board. They've done it in 13 straight games dating back to the end of 2023. It's just carried just short of the goal line, and we're coming up on the end of the quarter as well.
Probably
I doubt Cascade's going to try and get a playoff here, but you never know.
Yeah.
They're running guys out to the line of scrimmage. You've got 6 seconds to do just that.
Nice shot of the coaching staff there.
This is Luke Austin. They will get a snap off just as time expires, and holding their ground well. Well, the Hot Dogs in that defensive line, getting the proper push to end the quarter and halt Jackson Krober in the backfield. And the fourth quarter coming up next. Cascade up by 63.
At Laser Edge Turf and Excavation, we take pride in keeping your property looking its best and your projects moving forward. From expert commercial and residential mowing to lawn fertilization that keeps your grass healthy year-round, we've got your yard covered. Need more than lawn care? We also specialize in directional boring, trenching, and full excavation work. Whether it's maintaining your curb appeal or tackling big jobs underground, trust Laser Edge and Excavation to get the job done right. Let us tackle your next project. Give us a call at 670-2286.
Broadcast tonight brought to you by JXN Stump Solutions. Tired of unsightly tree stumps ruining your yard? Let us take care of it. We've got the equipment and experience to get the job done right. We offer 3 tiers of service that will rejuvenate your yard, all at competitive, budget-friendly rates. Call 765-242-9523 today for a free estimate. JXN Stump Solutions, rooted in service, driven to remove. And the quarterback's going to try to take it himself. Good patience on the run there. And Luke Austin gets in for the score. Make that 69 points on the board. We'll see if it's a go for 2 or try and hit the extra point here in this situation. You'd imagine they're going to try and kick the extra point.
And again, I would probably have my backup extra point guy just in case. But they do not. They have Trump out there. But whatever. Maybe they don't got a backup extra point guy.
Yeah, maybe they didn't recruit deep enough into the soccer team.
Maybe I need to call the soccer coach.
Trump will boot this one through. He remains perfect on the night. That is the 70 spot on the scoreboard. So the success continues for Cascade offensively. Not their first time in the last 2 years hitting 70 points either. They did it once last season. They've done it again here tonight. It speaks to the efficiency that this offense has.
You know, bringing that up, Harrison, I will tell you, and I was talking to another coach the other day, you know, the mercy rule was brought up to try to avoid scores like this, obviously, and Cascade's done a fantastic job. They have not run up the score, don't get me wrong. They played football, and they just did it better than Frankfort did. But here's the deal. Last week, there was a whole bunch in Indiana high school, a whole bunch of 80s and 70s. I mean,
oof,
and
basketball season hasn't started yet.
And that
Jim.
was with a running clock. I'm like, my gosh, what would the score have been if we'd had normal scoring rules? I mean, it might have been 100 or 200. I don't know. It just, you know, like I said, coaches generally are a good breed, and it's a fraternity, and so they don't want to humiliate each other. But last week was just, for some reason, there must have been
some
full
big
moon.
Numbers up there.
Yeah.
It might have been.
Yeah, because there was a lot of big numbers.
Something was in the air. Touchdowns were being scored left and right. It's going to be Marcus Hobson. I don't know if that's actually Marcus Hobson.
No,
but
they do have a couple double numbers.
They do have a double number because that's Miles Stuckey, pardon me, who's kicking this one off. I'm like, Hobson's listed at 6 foot tall. I'm like, there's no way that man's 6 foot tall out there kicking that away. But we got a fumble. Ball's out on the turf. Turnover. Second fumble recovery of the night for Cascade. And so maybe they should stick with Miles Stuckey as their kicker, the 5'5" freshman, 86 pounds. Do you credit him with that caused turnover there? I don't know. But he was the one who kicked that one off, so props to him. Got it a lot farther than I could. Ball's all the way down at the 30-yard line and in hot dog territory. It's where Cascade's going to take over.
Yeah, now I do a lot of Indiana State University football, and that's that FCS lower level Division I stuff. Yeah. And they have double numbers. I mean, you'll have a number 2 on offense, number 2 on defense. They both play a lot.
Oh, it's a worst nightmare.
It's
terrible.
That's why I color code everything. Okay.
Step ahead of the game.
Yeah, that's why I was going to ask Coach Simmons, but they were late getting here. Actually, Cascade's bus was late getting here. So, but I was going to ask him. I was like, come on, Coach. Double numbers, man. You only got like 60 guys.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Tell the kid who wants to be 13 that he ain't 13. The senior's 13.
Let's carry up the middle from the quarterback on that play. Bring up Coach Simmons. I think he's got such a fascinating story. He got this job in 2020. This senior class, he was coaching them in basketball as 7th graders. And you talk about the coach getting an opportunity to just stick with those guys. Mm-hmm. And he talked about it before the season. The buy-in was fantastic, and it gave him a chance to really establish himself as a coach, but that relationship with the players, this is a run broken out to the near side. And you see the value in that and kind of a pathway for a team that, was in the midst when he took over a run of 8 consecutive years that ended in his second season of being below 500.
Sure.
And so I just think it shows that pathway where, right, like high school programs, you get some teams in the state who work good every single year.
They got
coach
kids
at those teams. They got kids who are coming through. They've got their pipelines, whatever it may be. And it's not to say that Cascade hasn't had success in the past, because they absolutely have. But there is a way, right, to find success in teams that, I don't want to say struggling. I wasn't around during those days. I wasn't, logging the statistics for those teams back then. But from a wins and losses standpoint, you look at the growth and how it's happened over time. I think talked about it earlier in this game. Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think it's a great example of that you're seeing with Cascade so far this season.
Yeah, it just does take time, and you just got to keep hitting the rock, man. One of these days you're going to bust it. And heaven only knows what you might find in there. You might find gold. You might find fool's gold. But just keep hitting the rock, and eventually good things will happen.
There's 8 straight years of a losing record. That was between 2014 and 2021. The senior class right now, their quarterback, Brady Trebley, is obviously not on the field at the moment as they're rotating through their rosters. A whistle is going to stop play here. Timeout called by Cascade. Now, this senior class has 26 wins. They'll get their 27th tonight. They're going for a school record of 31. That was the 2006 senior class who got it back then. That 2006 senior class reached the sectional championship, lost to Tri-West 40-14 last year. You go back to last season, Tri-West is who ended in the sectional last year, Cascade's season. And so kind of some, interesting, right? And same sectional, they're going to meet each other plenty of times. But they've not reached a sectional championship since that 06 years. Just kind of some themes that mirror each other. Was senior class, a lot of varsity experience that they had back in 06. And now here you fast forward to 2025. You got a senior class that's competing for a new school record from that last senior class in terms of total wins. 31's that number to get to. They very likely could get there this season. Yeah. You don't want to say anything's for certain.
No,
but you talk about a team that is wanting a sectional title and beyond. That's possibly been built here and it started back in 2020 before a lot of these seniors are in high school.
Well, talking about, Cascade Sectional 29, you mentioned Tri-West. It's also got Hamilton Heights. So they run the little crisscross counter inside.
And a little bit of trickery, some room to work here. Good tackling as
first down
the
there.
ball got upfield, and JT Rashawn Caden Garver, getting the first down. Rashawn was one of those players hurt tonight for the Cadets.
So you see, almost had the ball carrier in the backfield and a little crisscross. But again, that's sectional 29, Tri-West, Hamilton Heights, always good. Guerin Catholic, always good. Crawfordsville, Indianapolis, Washington, West Vigo, and Speedway. For Cascade, for Frankfort, they're in 4A sectional 20. They have Lebanon, Huntington North, Logansport, Culver Academy, Muncie Central, and Marion. So a couple pretty good teams in there. I think Logan's off to a good year.
It's a handoff going to the near side of the field. This ball's out, and it's going to be a fumble recovery for the Hot Dogs. How about that, jumping on top of the loose ball? Popped out of the hands of Jackson Krober on the carry.
Like number 8 was there with the hit. That's Kiefer Dooley. Could have been 6, Josh Taylor. The 8 and the 6 kind of looks the same.
I was going to say, it might have been Taylor. Dooley is one of the starters.
Yeah.
Be surprised to see him in the game at this point. But heck of an effort there from the Hot Dogs. Not having that quit. You talk about you play a full game.
Sure.
Regardless of the score. There are moments you can take away on film. Some negative, some positive. I think that might have been a bit of a positive one there for the Hot Dogs. Forcing a fumble and recovering a fumble. As a carry just directly up the middle from under center. Broderick Kinsey in the game.
Another thing that we used to always remind our kids is, you're only promised 10 games. You get 9 regular season and you get 1 sectional, and that's it. That's the promise, right? Now the rest of them you got to earn. But so, gentlemen, this is one of the 10. And you can either go, okay, woe is me, we're down 70-0, and I'm just going to go out here and go through the motions. Or you can go out and play American tackle football, because I'm going to tell you what, you can play tennis till you're 90, golf till you're 90.
Tennis at 90?
Whatever.
I think you'd switch to pickleball by then, but
yeah,
I get your point.
But you know what? Trying to get a good tackle football game together with your friends when you're 35 is a little tough to do. This is it, guys. If you want to play American tackle football, you got to do it now. You're just not going to be able to play. You get in those other sports. They got, men's softball leagues for guys in their 60s and 70s. I don't see too many tackle football leagues for people in their 50s and 40s.
Let alone flag football leagues. But you talk about those 10 games, or some of the upcoming games for Frankfort and Western Boone up next. North Putnam, North Montgomery, and then finishing the regular season at Crawfordsville. These are all Monon Conference games on the way out. Cascade open to win the Monon Conference. They got Crawfordsville next. Greencastle, Southmont, and Western Boone coming into tonight. Cascade was one of the 3 remaining 2-0 teams in the Monon. Southmont and Western Boone, the other 2. We'll see how things shake out in the Monon Conference this year. First year ever at the Monon Conference has been a thing. So you get some fresh matchups. These are 2 teams, they don't really have a long history playing one another. And it's not the first time that Frankfort has gone up against a team they don't have a long history playing against. So that's one thing. Whatever opinions you may have about a new conference forming within the state, and one of the intriguing parts about it is creating these new matchups. Is it's a broken play there as Kinsey just goes down in the backfield.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. When I started researching this game, I was not familiar with the Monon Conference, and I didn't realize until you just said it that this is the first year. I mean, I just figured, I played football for a long time without a helmet, so maybe I.
The Indiana high school football historian's been stumped.
Well, but I thought I've never heard of it, but maybe they've been around for 10 years, and I just wasn't paying attention.
First year, Cascade hoping to be the team that gets that moment of history to be the first to win Monon Conference. They put up plenty of statement wins this season. This is just yet another one.
Yeah, I'm wrong quite a bit, actually. The other day we were playing trivia, and I swear I thought Donny Osmond was one of the Beatles. And so we missed that question. So,
I wouldn't have known that. But
you don't even know who the Beatles
that's not
are,
my demographic. I mean, I know the Beatles.
Right.
Come on.
Well, Donny
who doesn't
Osmond
know the
was
Beatles?
not one of the Beatles.
But I couldn't tell you who the Beatles are.
Oh, come on. John Lennon.
Paul
McCartney, Ringo Starr, George Harrison.
No, you didn't know your trivia question. I don't want to hear it.
Pete Best was supposedly the 5th Beatle, and then Billy Preston, for all you really older people out there listening. They're saying, you know what, that guy doesn't know whether a football's pumped with air or stuffed with feathers, but he knows the Beatles.
Ooh, and high snap, but it's handled by the punter who puts that one high in the air. It was Krober who got the snap before he kicked it away. 4.5 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Cascade will set up shop just inside the 30-yard line in hot dog territory.
Well, let's see if they get another big play defensively. I mean, again, it was a nice hit. Defensive player coming downhill and knocked the ball loose. And
so if you're a team like Cascade, Jim, and you've competed, won state titles as a coach, how hard is it? I'm sure it varies by team, but to keep your players focused 1 week at a time. When sometimes you do run into games where, it's 70-0, and as a handoff goes up here to the left side, how do you keep the focus on, hey, let's not think about, this at the end of the season. You still have your goals, you still have your aspirations, but how do you keep guys grounded? These are high school kids, right?
How to keep them
focused.
And their parents are going to go home and say, you guys are the greatest team ever assembled. You won 70-0. You can beat the 72 Dolphins. Gentlemen, you can't, okay? And here's why. And you just tell them, look, we did a lot of things right. Obviously, we won. But then show them a couple things that you just need to improve on, and then just kind of impress upon them, listen, we're not going to play teams that are in Frankfurt's position later on in the section. We may get one in the first round because it's a blind draw. And we may get one in the second round if two bad teams happen to draw each other and one of them's got to win.
Yeah.
But when we get to the sectional championship and the regional and the semi-state, there ain't going to be nobody who's got a first-year coach in a struggling program. It's going to be a really good football team. So congratulations. Enjoy the moment, the old 24 hours to enjoy it, and then we go back to work. We used to tell our kids, you don't get a ring for beating, in our case, back when I was a Chittard, for beating Cardinal Ritter or for beating Indianapolis Northwest. You get a ring for winning the last one. So enjoy the win, but let's go back to work and get better.
Here in a state where, talk about the format, everybody gets into the postseason.
Yep.
So in your class, as a run broken to the outside here, it's going to be another touchdown, make it 76 points. Brady Charette took the carry. We got double numbers here. It could be Hoyt Key as well. Be just candid with our audience. But regardless, 88 and White taking it in for the score. I'm going to guess it's Hoyt Key, the freshman, 5'8", 115 pounds. Jim, as I was saying, when everybody's making the postseason, in your class, you only get one team that gets to win their last game of the year. And I think it's a good point you made where, you get a ring for the last one.
Yeah.
Not week 6, not week 7.
Nope. And you know what? There's only 6 teams in the state every year that can say they won their last one. And
absolutely.
We had kids that, won their last one, were fortunate enough to win their last one, and then, decided, hey, I don't want to play college football. I want to be able to say for the rest of my life that I won the last football game I ever played in. And there's not a lot of men that can say that. So, if you're going to play maybe at a lower level and you just decide it's time to kind of focus on either getting a degree or learning a trade, and both are fine. Not everybody plays college football, and that's okay.
Absolutely. Part of the preparations for what's ahead and the rest of your life. As we get a break of the action and just more wisdom from Jim. You've been dropping knowledge all throughout the broadcast. I mean, if our audience hasn't learned a thing or two, I've learned a whole bunch tonight.
I'm sure there's people that I'm going, I wish that guy would shut up. I wish Tony Robbins would shut up.
You know what? And they don't appreciate the wisdom, Chip. They don't appreciate it. It's another kickoff coming here from Cascade. Up 77-0, 93 seconds to be exact, left on the clock. We got a post-game show, though. Stick with us for just a few minutes. We'll walk you through. We got a player of the game for you on Frankfurt as well, as this is back for a touchback. I believe that's the third touchback we've had tonight. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by the Frankfurt Eagles, Post 976, serving our community since 1905 with over 900 members locally. The Frankfurt Eagles offers something for everyone. For more information on who they are and what they do, please visit FOE.com or stop by 408 North Main Street in Frankfurt. As the Hot Dogs back out on offense, will close this one out. We'll see if they can find some positive tape to watch back on film here on this last drive. Kinsey under center. Man in motion, and he's just going to truck his way forward. Nice little gain on the play.
Yeah.
And across the 25, right around the 26, I believe it looked like is where he was spotted.
Yeah, they ran a little guy in motion behind him. That was just quarterback keep. And, again, just battling, just pushing. Young man looks like he's been in the squat rack a little bit.
That's how you keep those legs churning.
Yep.
Weight room. With about 30 seconds left, Hot Dogs are going to fall to 0-5 for a second consecutive season. Cascade goes to 5-0 in a second consecutive year as Kinsey on the handoff. And moving forward on another nice pickup there is Jay Cox. As you take a look back, the run up to the right. Just find a little bit of daylight in between your offensive linemen. Protect that football to move forward. Nice little first down picked up as well. So a couple positive plays there as this one comes to a close. As I mentioned, we got a post-game show coming up for you, so do not go anywhere if you're still with us. Cascade 77, Frankfort 0 is your final score. One more time, post-game show coming up after the break of the ISC Sports Network.
The Willow Creek Barn has been voted the best of weddings on the knot for 4 years running. The Willow Creek Barn has earned its reputation for a reason. With breathtaking grounds, a stunning barn, and a staff that goes above and beyond, making sure that every detail is perfect, your wedding day will be seamless, joyful, and unforgettable. From the first look to the last dance, your happily ever after starts here. To book your dream wedding, visit thewillowcreekbarn.com. We've all heard the question, if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Honestly, we're not sure either. But what we do know is that if it falls in your yard, it usually leaves behind an unsightly stump that you'll be stuck mowing around. At JXN Stump Solutions, we'll get rid of that stump for good, and here's the best part. We offer free estimates, so you'll know the cost before the work begins. We deliver quality work from a professional, locally owned company with a commitment to leaving your property cleaner, safer, and stump-free. Contact us today at 242-9523. At JXN Stump Solutions, we're rooted in service and driven to remove.
Welcome into our post-game show brought to you by
Welcome
Big Barn, where nature's beauty meets rustic elegance. I'm Harrison Silcox. Jim Leisure with me here on the post-game show as we talk to you about our player of the game brought to you by the Frankfort Eagles. Jim, take it away.
Well, the young man for Frankfort there, number 13, and go ahead and fire his name off. I put my notes up. Go
Quincy
ahead.
Allen.
Quincy Allen. I thought Allen did a fantastic job just hustling all over the field. He had great plays on offense, defense, and special teams, running down plays, never quit. You know, as coaches, we always, and again, this is something you can say in film, look, I need 10 more guys who will play like it. And then you just ask them, show of hands, can people play like it? And you'll get kids raised, okay, fine, let's go out and practice. Show me what you can do. I need you to play like that. If you can't play like that, then we're in trouble. And who knows, you might find 2 or 3 more up.
All right, so that is your player of the game brought to you by the Frankfort Eagles. Quincy Allen, 13. Great hustle tonight. Had a touchdown-saving tackle. Nearly took a kick return to the house as well. Played both offense and defense. Once again, Quincy Allen, your player of the game. Tonight's broadcast brought to you by Abstract Technology Group, doing IT differently, making it simple. Day and Ginda Funeral Home, putting family first. Fiberhawk, fast, affordable Fiberhawk. Healthy Communities of Clinton County, making the healthy choice the easy choice. The Frankfort Eagles Post 976, people helping people. And the Willow Creek Barn, providing a picturesque setting for the barn wedding of your dreams. One more time, I'm Harrison Silcox. Jim Leisure with me on the call this afternoon. Your final score, 77, Cascade, Frankfort 0. Cascade moves to 5-0 in the year. Hot Dogs down to 0-5. Thank you for tuning in with us and everybody on our production crew who helps put this whole broadcast together. And one more time, your final score, 77-zip. Cascade moves on with the win on the ISC Sports Network.